Ivy Beck, please do not make Palmer the Nazi Valley a tiny Anchorage. Wearing masks everywhere you go will only do more harm than good. COVID is no different than the cold flu. If you have a weakened immune system, you need to take your own precautions and stay home and wear a mask. But the majority of the population will not be more effective than they would be with the common flu. It is a 99.7% cover rate, not enough to realize that if 1 million people contract COVID, 0.3% that may unfortunately die is only 3,000. 997,000 would recover. The other facts of the matter is that mask action harm the body and do not help to slow the spread of COVID. Trying to control our lives is not the answer. Please keep Palmer and do not mandate this. Ivy Beck. Marjorie Beck. Palmer City Clerk. Please do not put this mask mandate in place. From everything I've read, and I've read a lot, the efficiency of mask use is at a minimum highly debatable, and most likely does nothing to aid the wearer or other around them. All it will do is make originally public-minded people like me look to shop locally, look for other places to buy what we need. If this goes into effect, I will not enter Palmer business until it is lifted, and I know many like me. Thank you, Marjorie Beck. Matthew Beck. Dear City of Palmer Council members, I am split on ordinance 2016 mandating 20-016 mandating masks. In general, I oppose the City of Palmer mandating anything or electing. Instead, I encourage the City of Palmer to issue a statement encouraging people to wear masks when inside and in close contact with others outside of their immediate household. In addition, I believe that the City of Palmer should create a plan of how it can best support citizens and business owners in the use of masks, social distancing, and proper hygiene. Also, it would be a positive step forward if the City of Palmer makes a commitment to help those that have lost loved ones to the coronavirus, are suffering from it, or have been negatively impacted by it. Furthermore, the City of Palmer should communicate how it is collaborating with the appropriate entities to prepare for distributing and administering the vaccines that will be coming soon. Since March, our personal businesses have required employees and customers to wear masks and practice social distancing by limiting the number of clients allowed in the building. And we've increased our budget and frequency for cleaning the buildings. I believe that many businesses in the map too have taken so much steps and continue to practice of doing so. How has the City of Palmer worked with businesses to help them to do so? Have you issued official recommendations on how citizens and businesses can best reduce the risk of COVID-19? Have you provided supplies to small businesses to help, such as masks, sanitizers, etc.? Have you provided signage related to COVID-19 for businesses to display? Why make your first step a mandate? Why not give citizens and businesses a chance to respond to something more positive before a mandate is issued? Does the City of Palmer have a COVID-19 task group to conduct research, share information, and make recommendations to the City of Palmer staff and council? It seems that there are many positive steps to be taken either prior to or in addition to or instead of a mandate. It is negative to issue a mandate without offering other positive steps as suggested. Give people a chance to do the right thing. It makes the City of Palmer an opponent instead of a partner with the citizens and local business owners in mitigating the risk of catching and spreading COVID-19 to issue any mandate without first taking some positive steps that may even eliminate the need for any such mandate. All this being said, there are clearly people that don't regularly wear masks, but the number of those people seem to be getting fewer and fewer. I was in Fred Meyer today and don't think I saw anyone without a mask. I think people are becoming more frightened and taking COVID-19 more seriously. I don't blame the council for considering a mask mandate, but I highly encourage you to consider a more positive approach. The mandate cannot stand alone without steps from the City of Palmer to partner in mitigating the risk and spread of COVID-19. Sincerely, Matthew Beck. Teresa Beck. Dear City of Palmer Council members, I am writing to have you reconsider your ordinance from a mandate to recommendation to follow the governor's recent emergency orders. I am one of the co-owners of North Star Animal Hospital. We required masks to be worn in our hospital and of our clients when they entered the building since March and April. We gently ask for their cooperation, and if our clients cannot or choose not to, we bring their pets into the building without them. Our employees work in close contact with one another, and so we all have been wearing masks, face coverings all day, every day, while providing animal care services in Palmer. I believe the City of Council should just make a recommendation and not a mandate for this effect. Let Palmer businesses decide how best to proceed with the governor's direction to keep their employees and the public safe. Thank you for consideration. Sincerely, Tracy. Victoria Bayheimer. I'd like to start by asking this for the record. My family and I are proud to be Alaskan. We are proud of the community we have here. We are proud that we get to enjoy so many freedoms in Alaska and down in the lower 48. Since the COVID shutdown began this spring, we witnessed friends and families divide over the constant fear, mongering, intimidation, propaganda, constantly spewed from the media. This is not the Alaskan way. We stand together and support one another. We also think of ourselves. We are not like the lower 48, and that is our gift. I've done research on masks since the beginning of COVID down in the States, long before we had our first case. The surgical masks are commonly provided by large corporation stores are full of toxic chemicals and are not proven to help protect you from COVID. Per the CDC website, at this time, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration has not approved any type of surgical mask specifically for protection against the coronavirus. With these masks, we provide some protection when N95 masks are not available. Yet we were instructed not to wear N95s so that medical staff would have enough. I have seen the DIY instructions for making cloth masks on the CDC website. I have seen stores fill their shelves with all these cute colored patterned masks for adults and children. I have also seen many cases of bacterial infections in adults and children from having these masks on for prolonged periods of time. I have seen cases of staph infections from these masks. I have read the update on the CDC's website during the wildfires this summer that states, cloth masks that are used to slow the spread of COVID-19 by blocking respiratory droplets offer little protection against wildfire smoke. They do not catch small harmful particles in smoke that can harm your health. We know that smoke particles are much larger than the size of a COVID particle. So how does this make sense? The CDC also updated its site on November 3rd, encouraging COVID-positive people to go vote, regardless of currently quarantine. How does this protect us in the middle of a so-called pandemic? We have seen numerous politicians not social distancing and without masks, disregarding their own orders and mandates. It is truly rules for thee, but not for me. We have all seen doctors shamed and silenced for speaking out against this nonsense. We have been given zero guidance on how to keep our bodies healthy with nutrient-dense meals, sleep, sunlight, and supplements. Why? Because it isn't about our health. It is about our compliance. I urge you, please do not fall into this category of compliance. It has become a slippery slope and will only put more people on it. If we mandate masks now, perhaps when the vaccine is ready to be distributed, what will the mandates and orders end? If people choose to wear masks, they have every right to, just as they have every right to smoke cigarettes, eat fast food every day for lunch, and drink themselves to sleep if they see fit. We should not be forced into this propaganda. We have the ability to do our own research and make our own decisions for our health and well-being. I am asking
asked her about time. What's that on there?
Yes, she started out adding the mask. I said, once you finish that line,
I had the period. Okay.
Yeah. At the very bottom, you said adding the mask.
Adding a mask mandate will only by the City of Palmer. Victoria Ryan. And this is an email forwarded from the mayor from Marilyn Bennett. It's in there. It's in there.
It's at the very bottom.
Please vote against a mask mandate. All citizens should be trusted to do what is right for them and not have the city impose restrictions on their things. Charles Ben Shelter. Deputy Mayor, congrats on your new position. I sincerely wish you success for the community of Palmer. I ask that my letter be read at the assembly today and entered into the record. Emergency Ordinance 20-016. I ask that you not impose the enact mandate for the following reasons. We will be quoting top Canadian pathologist Dr. Roger Hodgson, CEO of biotech companies that manufactures COVID-19 tests. He feels there is unfounded hysteria being driven by the media and politicians. We need to quarantine the at-risk group, people 70 plus with no morbidities, not the public at large, and definitely not the children. Paper and fabric masks do not stop COVID. They only stop particle 3 microns or larger. COVID-19 is a 0.01 microns. Masks give people false sense of security. Additionally, they are non-stop touching these masks and then touching everything on their surroundings, helping to spread COVID-19. The science is not established relative to the efficiency of masks. Economics. People are hurting in our community and will hurt even more with the mask mandate. A mask mandate will elevate and spread fear beyond the reality of COVID-19 does. Many people will be scared to go to restaurants, bars, shopping, schools, thus exaggerating the economic effect we are already experiencing. The areas with the strictest mandates, the areas with the strictest mask mandates are experiencing the highest level of COVID-19 cases in death. See New York and California. Freedom. As a free man, I reserve the right to discern my own risk level of all manner of things, driving cars, flying planes, eating certain foods, befriending individuals, and yes, the risk of dying from COVID-19. Facts. 80 people died from car crashes in Alaska last year, or 0.0011% of population. 94 people have died from COVID-19 in Alaska, although most of them are in the highest group, 80 years old plus with comorbidities, or 0.0013% of the population. We are not fundamentally reordering society, crashing our economy, and putting local government and our personal lives to stop car crashes. It is a risk we all assume every day as responsible adults. Why are we doing this for COVID-19? What's next? Similar draconian measures as in Oregon and other states? Tip in air. Please educate the common community about the risk and your thoughts of how to mitigate that. But in the end, we need to be able, as responsible adults, to act responsibly in the name of freedom and liberty, which is truly the last voice. Sincerely, Charles Van Shelter. Julia Van Shelter. I think adults should make their own decisions and choose whether they wear masks or not. We are in America, the land of the free, not the land of the controlling government. If the people wearing the masks, why do I have to wear mine if we're social distance? Make it make sense. I propose against mask mandate in Palmer, Alaska. Julia Van Shelter. Joanne Burke. To City of Palmer Council. I am Mary Joanne Burke, an over 50-year resident of the great city of Palmer, and am strongly against any form of the mask ordinance you're proposing for the city of Palmer. Most of the businesses are already asking us to wear coverings of our face, so do not understand what the reason for a mandate, if any kind, or is it just your way of building your power over the good citizens and businesses of Palmer? I am unable to make the meeting, so in the presidency will be read on the floor. Thank you, Joanne Birch. Francesca Viz, to whom it may concern. As a Matsuburg resident and avid supporter of Palmer businesses, I am writing in response to the proposed mask mandate and would like my comments to be read into the record on November 18, 2020. I believe that implementing a mask mandate will negatively impact the local businesses by pushing people in opposition to take their businesses to online corporations. Even with the disclosure that those with medical conditions are exempt, many businesses are operating in fear of repercussions and not abiding by this, and singling out and harassing individuals who cannot wear a mask for medical reasons, and that is unethical. Personally, my family and I will be deterred from spending our time and money in Palmer should this mandate be implemented. Thank you for your time. Francesca Viz. Jacob Viz. To whom it may concern, I am requesting that this be read into the record on November 18, 2020 City Council meeting. As a lifelong Palmer resident, aside from my time spent away on active duty, I I strongly oppose the implementation of the mask mandate. My family and I make a point to support local businesses and will be deterred and will take our business elsewhere should we be forced to wear masks in Parler. Please refuse to pass a mask mandate. Thank you. Jacob Bates. Oh, here it is. Trig Bjorklund. The mandates of ANC have changed the way people have reacted to what may have been good advice. To threaten people with fines, to force businesses to be enforcers or face fines have caused a crisis for the hospitality business. Many businesses are forever closed, with many more to follow. I used to employ 12 people, now 4. The federal money that was supposed to go to businesses affected has been squandered by local governments. Americans are not stupid and should be free to make their own choices. The information should be provided by local governments to help us make their choices. But people who cherish our freedom do not like having things down their throats. The people spoke out loudly against in Anchorage, and the Assembly still did as they wished, and closed the meeting to the public so they could do as they wished without the pressure of the people that they were supposed to represent. I read that Palmer is not going that way. Thanks, Trig Bjorklund. Body. I'm sure there is going to be lots of drama on both sides tonight. However, keep in mind, taking away freedoms for safety wasn't preferable for our founders and shouldn't be for us either. As Benjamin Franklin said, those who would give up essential liberty to purchase a little temporary safety deserves neither liberty nor safety. And temporary safety is exactly what you are proposing. This disease is far from overwhelming, and Deputy Mayor Combs characterizing it as such shows either her ignorance or desire to lord over others. Couching it as a public safety fuzzy blanket doesn't change the fact that you are threatening those who elected you. Don't turn the city council into an overbearing, nagging mother. And remember that we choose our actions, but never get to choose our consequences. Body. Robert Yokel. No mask mandate for Palmer. Michael Bowles, to whom it may concern. As a resident of Palmer, Alaska, I'm against this ordinance. As a person who regularly shops and frequents many businesses in the city of Palmer, I believe this ordinance will hurt our community and business owners. Mandating a mask does not keep people healthy. Requiring people to keep a mask full of bacteria and viruses strapped across their face is similar to requiring people to keep a petri dish full of bacteria and viruses attached to the face. People are actually touching their faces more because of the mask, which is more healthy because they are bringing the bacteria and viruses on their hands up to their face much more often because of the mask. The only way the government can proactively keep people healthy is to recommend businesses practice social distancing of 6 feet or more and provide proper hand hygiene stations for customers and employees, which is already happening throughout Palmer. Michael Bowles. Tyler Bracker. This is the stuff right here that started the Boston Tea Party. I think we all know how that ended up. Maybe not with how our government goes about governing us. Americans are free to choose how to protect themselves without mandates. Mandates are for a monarchy. The kings and queens would be the ones to force masks upon peasants. I am no peasant, and there are no kings or queens in this land, only Americans. Pass a mandate, and I will willfully disobey as a proper American would do. Tyler Brackett. Tom Braun. To whom it may concern, this mystical thing about masks is not a health thing. Why? First, there is no scientific evidence to show a mask protects anybody. As used in Japan, its intent is for the sick to wear them to limit some exhalation from affecting other people. It does nothing to protect the wearer from other illnesses and does not offer much protection to others. It's more of a tradition marking a sick person so others can avoid them. As used in medical areas, it is designed to somewhat protect patients from medical personnel's breath to prevent any infectious spread, which all medical treatment areas have a higher concentration of. As used by laborers, it's designed for use as a dust filter, which doesn't prevent all dust from being inhaled, no matter how tightly it fits. Any serious toxic atmosphere, such as heavy dust or paint, for example, requires a tightly fitting filter mask, not a dust mask. Second, in fact, there is scientific evidence proving a dust mask does little to nothing to protect the wearer from disease. Long-term wearing a mask causes the wearer to constantly breathe his own germy breath and overheats them, making me feel ill. Third, mandatory mask wearing when assigned by the team, my civil rights violation and investigated by the FBI upon complaint. Fourth, Governor Dunleavy is not requiring mask wearing. It's a suggestion. Fifth, any business requiring me to wear a mask to enter, I leave and they lose my business with them. Sixth, I will not wear a mask unless I am sick from a cold or flu, and then only if I need to be within 6 feet of others. If I cough or sneeze, I do it onto my sleeve. The 3 things I can do to prevent becoming sick are: 1, wash my hands before eating or touching my eyes and after using the bathroom. 2, keep away from sick people, which means in public, stay 20 feet from others, because those who are sick don't care and they won't announce they're sick. According to the CDC, the large droplets travel 6 feet. According to the 2014 study by MIT scientists published in the Journal of Fluid Mechanics, when a person sneezes or coughs, large droplets can travel 6 feet, while small droplets can travel up to 20 feet. Entering ventilation systems, they travel where the air pushes them. When I see a person coughing, I simply stay well clear of them. 3, keep my nose clean, which means keeping those 4 pockets dry in the front of the nose, which hold mucus to prevent germs from multiplying there. I've been doing this for years and have not gotten cold or flu. So who pays for public issue bathroom monitors and shoe users to wash their hands? It would be more productive to park people with cold or flu to stay home. But that would violate their unalienable right to liberty. At my government job, when a co-worker came to work coughing, the boss would send him home on paid sick leave to prevent others at work and people we serve from catching it. Please do not.
Just a couple of lines.
Please do not implement any mask mandate in Palmer, or I won't use Palmer businesses. The city cannot enforce this, and you cannot require others to enforce it. This isn't a community state yet. On my please read this as my statement, because at present I cannot stand leading to entries. Sincerely, Tom Brown. Brianna. I and my family do not support any type of mask or other mandates. The people of Palmer are capable of making personal choices when it comes to wearing masks. We've not shopped in Anchorage for months because of the mask mandate and how it has changed people. People have become mean and judgmental in Anchorage, treating each other rudely and without compassion because of the new mindset that everyone is a walking COVID spreader instead of humans. People in Palmer themselves still smile and make eye contact and small talk in the stores. There has been an increase in mask wearing in the valley because people are capable of making their own choices and don't need to be dictated to, especially on a topic that is supported by bad science and a complete lack of logic. Let the people and businesses of Palmer be free to make their own choice. If you make this mandate, our family will no longer be shopping in Palmer. We will move our businesses online until we sell up again. Larry and Brenda Lorne-Burkhoff. Dear Mayor, I'm writing this mail as a concerned Palmer resident. My wife Brenda and I are out of state now and are unable to attend the meeting tomorrow night, November 18, 2020, concerning the possibility of mandatory mask mandate for the city of Palmer. I'm asking this email to be read in record in the meeting since we cannot be in person. We both stand in opposition of the citywide mandatory mask mandate. Please consider the fact that Anchorage has had a mask mandate since the end of June, which with probability of at least 70% or more Anchorage residents consistently wearing masks since the beginning of their mandate. The rate of public mask wearing in Anchorage has steadily increased since the mandate was implemented at the end of June. Despite the mandatory mask mandate and increasing rate of consistent public mask usage by its residents, Anchorage has had a steady increase in daily infections. A common sense approach to this data reveals masks do not stop or even slow the rate of infection. It actually creates a whole new separate set of issues and potential health concerns. Additionally, there is an equal amount of scientific research supporting the conclusion that masks do not help as there is research supporting the conclusion that masks do help. There are no real-time studies that preview the conclusion. Across the nation, the areas of highest infected rates also have mask mandates and extensive restrictions and/or lockdowns. Finally, state infections reporting by DHSS over the last week or so have shown a downward trend in statewide infection rate as well as Palmer infections holding at a steady lower downward trend. Please trust the great people of Palmer to continue to use common sense and wisdom to continue to keep infections in Palmer under control, as we have been doing since the very beginning. There is no need to create additional panic and decisiveness by needlessly restricting Palmer residents. It will in turn likely define mandatory mask mandates at a greater rate than the little defiance is happening now. Thank you for your sincere consideration. Learn, Brenda Brinkoff. And the next one on the record is Laura Rothman, who also testified in person. Perfect.
Tom and Mary Brown. We are fairly new residents of Palmer, having moved from draconian measures we endured as lifelong residents. I totally forgot. So I'm going to start over. New resident. Tom and Mary Brown. We are fairly new residents of Politadick, having moved from the draconian measures we endured as lifelong California residents. Alaska is known among the states as being free with small government without intrusion into its proud citizens' lives. We believe everyone should have the right to choose what's best for our own lives and family. My husband and I have already experienced COVID, so we're at very little risk of being reinfected. Furthermore, the science on the effectiveness of masks actually preventing contracting the virus is very clear with common sense. They only prevent large droplets and actually introduce a catch-all clot you're strapping over your mouth and nose. If you don't replace it frequently and consistently avoid the touching, it does more harm than good. Just look at the biohazard suit scientists have to wear to avoid contracting a virus. Here's a crude but vivid example I experienced while waiting in a socially distanced line. Someone nearby broke wind, passed gas, and everyone nearby was cringing as they penetrated the mask. Needless to say, the message was dawning on us all as we came out for air. If 100 million COVID-19 viral particles can fit in the head of a pin, wearing a mask is like standing behind a chain link fence to keep the gnats or mosquitoes out. Please don't implement a mask mandate and let each person make their own individual family choice. We moved to Alaska in part to be free. Sincerely, Tom and Mary. Drew Bryant. I believe a mask mandate would not be the lasting way to deal with this problem. We have seen the ineffectiveness of such a mandate with the municipality of Anchorage. I believe that an emergency order of a mask mandate is an overstep of the Palmer City Council. Drew Bryant. James Buckingham. Whom it may concern. As a small business owner and resident of the Matsu Valley, I am ready to strongly encourage you to not pass this emergency order regarding the COVID restrictions for the city of Palmer. As someone who has had COVID already, I can say that even though there are risks involved with the spread of COVID, I believe the risk of shutting down restricting business can be far more dangerous in the long run. Not just because of economic hardship, which is not a small issue, but also the mental stress that can drive people to end everything as an escape. People don't handle well the loss of contact with people, income, etc. I just got off the phone with someone who has been out of work and just finally got a job. Life has been really hard for them. When we implement more restrictions, it causes people to lose hope that there will be an end to this and that we will be able to go back to normal life. Our state already has way too many suicides and drug-related death to look past this. At this time, people need to see light at the end of the tunnel and realize that though this virus has had a major impact and will continue to, it will not be the ruin of normal life. Many are people working and employed or will reap huge consequences down the road. I have already witnessed the despair people are feeling or loss of contact and distance from those they need to leave in their life. On another note, there is so much we don't really know about this virus, and to implement precautionary measures that could have major ramifications down the road is unwise. I would like to come down at the same time, have the same symptoms and recover. She tested and came back positive, and I tested twice and came back negative both times. Since there was no way I didn't have it, I was clinically pronounced positive. If we still can't even know for sure if we have this virus due to test inaccuracies, it would seem like we are fighting a giant. We are helplessly singing and hoping we will be eventually victorious. Mandate masks like crouching down in the ball, hoping somehow this giant won't see us. The truth is, I have been around places that have strict mask policies, and a lot of times people just don't wear them. So in a very real sense, we are restricting people's ability to live free lives and choose their destiny by forcing everyone to follow protocols that ultimately we won't know if they will be in work. Please don't restrict Palmer any further. We need to let people live their lives and make their own choices on how to be careful. Should we care for those that are vulnerable? Yes, of course, but there are ways to do that without placing mandates on people that ultimately will prevent further spread of this virus. Please have Sir James Bucky. Jim Buckingham. Good morning. I'm aware of the proposed Palmer Ordinance 2020-016 mandating the wearing of masks in public settings and other requirements regarding the COVID-19 pandemic. I am opposed to this proposed ordinance as I feel it oversteps the balance of local government to impose upon the common sense of intelligent people that understand this issue, and its person can make wise decisions to protect both their own health and the health of others. The emotional, mental, and spiritual health of individual people, families, churches, and communities is put at high risk when government imposes mandates that restrict normal, healthy social interaction. There are public risks to me and my family that are far more dangerous than the risk of getting or dying from COVID-19, which government should act upon. The risk of public drunkenness and driving while intoxicated, for example. If you want to address those that have lost their common sense and ability to make wise decisions about the use of masks close down bars where people drink themselves to a point where they risk transmitting COVID-19 and threaten the safety of the general public. If you're drunk driving after you leave your home. I do wear a mask when it is appropriate in public settings or required by private businesses. My family and I have all contracted COVID-19 and walked through it with normal symptoms, so I cannot give it or give it, at least for a period. I believe we can make wise decisions about wearing masks when appropriate to protect other people we know and love. Thanks for your time. Sincerely, Jim Bucky. Martha Buckingham. Alaskans are better than this. They care about their community. They wear masks when it is in the best interest of all involved. They have not needed government intervention to do the right thing. Let's work together to keep our valley and beautiful place the way it is. With the people proposing to show goodwill towards their fellow men, not a set of government rules which would destroy life and living our Alaska. Let our valley be on trying to center for America, for the world. Martha Buckingham. Kathleen Button. Dear Palmer Clerk, please read this following in the record meeting and emergency mask mandate. Palmer City Council, please do not implement the mask mandate in Palmer. If this is implemented, I will go elsewhere to support businesses for an astronaut industry and by doing business in Palmer whenever possible. Sincerely, Captain Butt. Jim Burton. Regarding proposed ordinance 2020-0116. This is not the most correct approach to ease our problem with COVID-19. Some Palmer business operators already request that these coverings be worn, and for the most part, their requests are being complied with. How are you going to make sure patrons are washing their hands? True, some people think they are invincible and don't care if who they might infect. What kind of penalty is recommended for them? A more effective approach is to encourage self-quarantine, minimize contact with others, and all the other things we have been advised to do. Information about where and when people are getting sick. Names of places sequencing not numbers. So attach names to the dead victims list. HIPAA should no longer apply to your dead. People need to understand how serious things can be for some victims. Has anyone from Palmer died? I don't know. Do you? Until lots of good information is available, you will not get compliance or respect for any ordinance or law. We will get through this virus. Some medicine is supposedly to be available by spring. The thing over name is not how bad it was, but the way we conducted ourselves while handling it. Is 2020-16 the best that we have to offer, or is it insult to injury? Respectfully, Jim Burton. Donna Button. I don't agree with the mask mandate. The governor sent out a message last week.
That same day I went to Fred Meyer's, I wore my mask as usual and was so impressed that everyone had a mask on. I had noticed in the past weeks that there was less and less people not wearing them. We don't need to control mandates. We are adults. We are a free country, and we are smart people that can make good choices. The governor was very good at stating the fact and encouraging people to make the right choice by using masks and the other precautions. That is how you treat adults and free citizens. Then you look at the mandate, who's going to enforce it. We will take police officers from doing very important work to run after people because they are not wearing masks. They should down that. Heidi Colfer. Dear Palmer City Council members, I am opposed to Ms. Combs' EO 20-016, mandating masks in the city of Palmer. We need to look no further than Anchorage to see that a mask mandate is nothing to reduce COVID infection transmission. Instead, their rates have steadily soared, all the while small businesses have suffered and civil liberties have eroded. Private businesses have the prerogative to implement their own mask mandates or not, and likewise, we as private citizens have the prerogative to shop at their establishments or not, based on their policies. But I think what I take issue with is our local government at the behest of Ms. Combs mandating to private citizens how we can make a run in public, and to small business owners how to operate their businesses. Those of us who shop and do business in Parler, especially small business owners operating businesses in the city limits, can decide what's in our own best interest, and it is not harassment, as Ms. Combs recently complained in the media, to have an opinion opposed to hers. Thank you for your time and attention to this matter. I am Colin. Chad Cameron. From where were the funds to pay who drafted the ordinance source? What agency will be used to enforce this mandate, and how will they be compensated? For what purposes, and who will be beneficiaries of whatever penalties or fines you imagine? Despite prior action from CDC, governor, and others in government, the Palmer Assembly now feels compelled to spend additional time and money considering the idea of imposing unconstitutional restrictions on the businesses and people who do not have a consent or agreement. The voting system in Palmer has barely 1,100 participants. The Assembly has made it clear with the minimum attendance requirements that you have no intention of being dissuaded from an authoritarian decision to mandate a medical device as requisite for commerce in a town which has had no significant data to support such a decision. There is no peer-reviewed data to claim that mask mandates have any desirable effect on individual health, one popular metric. Number of cases, but have demonstrated without exception a negative effect on brick-and-mortar businesses. Your decision to usurp individual choice and personal liberty will result in actual effects on the finances of the people in this town, and I will ensure that those charges are brought against the Assembly and Court. Important considerations. Urban needs to make unsatisfied groups postulates. Germ theory is unproven and strongly refuted in peer-reviewed journals. Psychological and health effects of forcing children, people with breathing problems, and victims of crime to wear a face cover. Sincerely, Chad Cameron. Don Campbell. Dear Palmer Clerk, please read the following email and order. Palmer City Council, please do not implement the mask mandate in Palmer if this is implemented as a laws for businesses where masks are not mandatory and may do business in Palmer whenever possible. Sincerely, Don Campbell. Molly Campbell. To whom it may concern, I am not able to attend a special city council meeting being held this Wednesday in regards to a proposed mask mandate for Palmer. However, I wanted to make my voice heard. Thank you. You're constantly to look at the numbers regarding this virus, so that is what I would like to stick to in this email. On November 15th, Anchorage, which we all know has had a mask mandate for quite some time now, had a total of 642 positive COVID-19 cases. On that same day, Palmer had 7 minutes less than 32. From this alone, it is apparent to me that masks do not make a difference in how this virus is spread. Now let's take a look at the overall death rate for this virus. Based on the Council Alaska as of November 15, 2020, that death rate is 4%. Based on the total counts for the entire U.S. as of the same date, the overall death rate is about 2%. I would like to compare this to another common sickness that we all experience around this time of year, the common flu. This is a death rate of approximately 9.5% nationally, and we have not once implemented a mask mandate or any sort of healthy mandate for this. Logically, it makes no sense as to why one would be needed for a virus with a much lower death rate. The real issue that came here is the regulation control of people around homes. The human needs to clearly live its inherent right to decide how to best approach their own health and life. house parties and other private gatherings. While I don't see how you can do such things, and I'm really not in favor of attempting to, I don't think the answer is to come down with more restrictions on citizens of Palmer and the small business community of the city. Lastly, let me just say, I don't see how you would enforce our corporally such a mandate anyhow without turning neighbor against neighbor, business owner against patron, etc. These are tense times. Like it or not, this virus and everything around it has become politically charged. We can talk to our neighbors and offer our recommendations and all agree to be respectful of one another's judgment, or we can add one more issue in which we fight one another, when we should be looking for common ground and reminding each other how much we have in common. Thank you for your time and consideration in this matter of Walter Campbell. Dan and Cynthia Carr. Ordinance number 20-016 should not be passed. Section 6, the city reserves the right to use all available enforcement options to ensure compliance with this ordinance. The wording in section 6 regarding enforcement action is far too broad and it is only fair to the public for the specific consequences to be listed before giving debate on a mandate of this magnitude. It would be helpful if section 1 was written clearly as well. Lastly, creating mandates is never a good solution for the long-term welfare of the community as it sets a divide between government and citizens instead of encouraging two parties to work together for solutions. Dan is in favor. Dakota Carline. To whom it may concern regarding ordinance number 20-016, I sincerely hope we do not issue a mask mandate as we have seen based on the rising cases in Anchorage. The masks are not helping. Masks are not meant to be worn all day, every day we go. People in Alaska are tired of this. It started nearly a year ago. It was 2 weeks, which has turned into several months. Enough is enough. It is said this is temporary in nature, but this has not been temporary for the community, and we are tired of our freedoms being stripped from us. Let individuals mandate themselves as needed. Let those who need to wear masks and those of us who are healthy make our own choice. I'm not able to attend the meeting and write my message for you. Thank you, John. Carol Carmen. Hello, neighborhood representative. Outside Palmer City limits, but do most of my shopping in Palmer. I am very much against a mask mandate for our business and will make every effort to take our business elsewhere if you impose such a mandate. Carol Carmen. Renee Carey. Not constitutional local states. Renee Carey. Chris. Okay, so this one is just a notice, Chris. Hi, Sabrina. My name is Chris, and I'm without we are not going to become sheep and part of this fake pandemic. We are not going to be scared. We need to take a stand and be brave. The last ones are talking about standing for this. Thanks, Chris. Brittany's. Charlene Christensen. I, Charlene Christensen, do not believe that it is the government's right to mandate the wearing of masks within the city limits of Palmer. It is a decision that is to be made individually by the citizens. It would be difficult to enforce this mandate causing more harm than good because of division of beliefs about the value of wearing masks to prevent the spreading of COVID. It should be up to individual merchants to post the requirement of masks in their individual business places. It does not make sense for masks to be worn when residents are out walking on the sidewalks away from others or seated in restaurants at a distance from folks who are not in their close family circle. Charlene Christensen. Garrett Christensen. To my fellow citizens and leaders alike, I address you at this time, which is a pivotal period in time with regards to our health and freedoms. My intention is not to persuade you to do as I wish, but to warn you of the slippery slope that you are currently dancing on with regards to compelling others to do or act in a manner that is pleasing to you. The science is not settled regarding COVID-19 and the use of masks. The role of the government in the health of the individual is zero. Mandating that every citizen must wear a facial covering is discriminatory to those around people. Above all else, no person or entity has the right to coerce, compel, or force anyone to do anything against their will. Once we enforce our will upon others, the line is crossed. We may encourage, promote, emphasize, or suggest, but we may never compel or follow citizens to comply with what we deem safe or necessary. As you choose to go forward with this mandate, remember that you are not minimizing a great portion of the population will never comply with any mandate or order that directly infringes upon their rights as humans. The numbers will increase as we all venture inside during the cold season, just like every year. But all that you are doing is creating more division among the citizens that you rub shoulders with on the local business favor, Garrett Christensen. Holly Christensen. To the Palmer City Council, to your own record. First off, I want to thank you all for choosing to serve the people of Palmer. I know some of you personally and you are such great community law. I can only imagine the burden of those in leadership positions right now as they attempt to keep the citizens they serve safe. And I know that some have been very unkind, to put it mildly, in response to the emergency ordinance number 20-016 that is being proposed. It saddens me as insults and snide words never foster open, respectful communication, and I am ashamed that some of our citizens have chosen to be respectful, going to me instead of seeking your support and respectfully providing their perspective. I hope that this letter will be taken in the context it is meant with great respect for you and understanding that you are facing difficult situations and decisions, and with the desire to offer my thoughts and concerns about this emergency ordinance while still conveying how truly concerned I am about the dangers that COVID-19 possesses to some in our community, and my desire to help mitigate the risk of this disease to those individuals. I believe that the mask mandate that is being proposed comes from a place of love and concern for the people you serve, and we believe this measure will help protect the people in our communities and keep our hospital from being overwhelmed. Issuing an emergency ordinance like this is quite a drastic measure, and it's something not done often by the city council. So I know that great deliberation went into proposing this ordinance. Sure that I believe that when taking such action like this ordinance does in exercising authority over citizens, it is best to make sure that such a mandate will be proven to statistically benefit the people you serve. My concern with this proposed mask mandate is that while being a pretty drastic step, it will also have little to no effect in protecting the vulnerable in our community. Anchorage has been very careful throughout this pandemic, issuing a mask mandate, canceling in-person school, and setting regulations that local businesses wishing to stay open must comply with to ensure proper social distancing and sanitation. Even with all these measures in place, the city is experiencing significant spikes in cities across the country and globe. I hope all the initial actions of these community leaders as this is a novel virus that we have had to learn about from ground zero. They have all just been doing their best to keep their citizens safe. Luckily, we have learned a lot over the past 8 months about this virus and how it spreads. Healthcare officials and governments around the country have acknowledged that the spread of the virus is primarily happening in homes and social gatherings where people are in close proximity to each other for extended periods of time, not in grocery stores or places of business or worship. This is why social gatherings like Thanksgiving have been so strongly discouraged, because they are the culprit for the greatest spread of the virus. If the city council acknowledges what the experts are telling us, then why would it choose to exercise the power of a mandate that likely will have little to no effect on the cases we experience here at Palmer? Remember, we are Palmer. We are a small community, not the busy streets of New York City where people walk on crowded sidewalks up packed like sardines into on-site fish fry. Holly Christensen. John Christensen. Let's do Thank you. John Christensen. My name is John Christensen. I am conservative at heart. I am vehemently against this proposed mask mandate for the city of Palmer. It is an inexcusable overreach of government supposed authority to require healthy individuals to wear masks or do anything else for that matter. Furthermore, this ordinance puts responsibility of policing and enforcing squarely on the shoulders of the business community. As the 4 council members who are intending to push this through should know, government draws is just powerful in consent of government. I do not consent. Some of you on the council are friends of mine, so I will offer a heads up. Be careful of overstepping with this misguided proposal. You may not like the results of the next election. Feel free to contact me to discuss reasonable solutions that would work well and be fully endorsed in your community. Thank you. John Christensen. Sue Clark. It has come to my attention that the newly elected city council member, Sabrina Combs, has called an emergency meeting to vote on the mandatory mask mandate. I'm writing this letter to let you know that I am against it. I understand this mandate was modeled after the Anchorage mandate. Anchorage has been masked for over 6 months, but it has clearly not worked. This virus is going to run its course, and no amount of draconian measures are going to stop it. We knew it would probably spike again in October, November as we head into the flu season. This non-pandemic has an 99.6% survival rate. Would it not be smarter to have the sick, elderly, and vulnerable take what precautions they need to keep themselves safe? Please explain enforcement by any means necessary. Are you implying that you want the police and area people you want to defund to be mask enforcers? How exactly can you force your citizens to comply with an unlawful order? Small businesses will suffer under this mandate, especially during the holiday season when they are hoping to make up some of the loss revenue from this horrible year. There's absolutely no scientific proof that masks do work. For every study that says they do, there are as many studies that say they don't. This is clearly an overreach of my constitutional right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Sabrina, when posting to Moms for Social Justice, stated she didn't like that she had to give ample notice before the emergency meeting could be held, and that one of her goals is to change that to a shorter notice, 24 hours, essentially taking the voice of the people away. Taking away our voice is another way to silence opposing views while they put notices out to their private and personal groups. Both the mask mandate and the change of notifying the public of emergency meetings should not pass. Super. Margie Cobb. Dear Amanda Rees and Palmer City Council, I am not a resident of Palmer, but I do work and do most of my shopping and dining in businesses located in the city of Palmer. I am respectfully requesting that the City Council let down on this ordinance. The COVID-19 numbers being reported for the city of Palmer do not justify this mandate. Recent reported cases from November 15 was 7 cases, November 16 was 6 cases. As I shop in stores in Palmer, it seems to me that most employees and customers are already looking out for one another by wearing masks. Voluntarily, I myself put on my mask before going into stores. I will wear one when I'm outside since there are no crowds on the sidewalks when I'm in town. It is my opinion that mandating masks will cause more harm than good, and small businesses within the city of Palmer will be adversely affected as business owners will be required to enforce this ordinance and customers choose to stop shopping in these stores. The other item I wish to address is the Deputy Mayor's spoken intent to eliminate the Open Meetings Act. Does the Deputy Mayor not understand the purpose for the Open Meetings Act? To put it simply, this will allow citizens the right to speak or comment on issues during a meeting of a public body. In this case, the Palmer City Council, it ensures transparency in governmental proceedings, minimizing the appearance of a dictatorial government who make decisions in secret. There should never be any business discussed or an ordinance voted on without the citizens of the city of Palmer being proper notice and the ability to speak to the issue. For the city of Palmer, in the Bill 11 Annex study, which includes my neighborhood, the intent of the deputy mayor to seek to eliminate this act for any reason is very unlikely. Again, I am respectfully requesting that you vote no on this ordinance. The governor of Alaska has asked Alaskans to wear masks as well as other actions. Did not mandate it. The city of Palmer should follow the governor's example. Sincerely, Margie Cobb. Stacy Cobham. Dear City of Palmer Mayor, Deputy Mayor, and Council members, I am ready to voice my opposition to the mask mandate trying to be enforced through emergency ordinance number 20-016. I am Marty Rees of Palmer, and while my home technically lies within a Silicon Base, I specifically chosen to maintain my Palmer rates. I purposely returned to Palmer to do my shopping, pay my bills, and support local small businesses. I choose to rent a post office box in Palmer even though one is conveniently located within a quarter mile down the road from my house simply because I still want a Palmer address under my name. Every affiliation I have is with Palmer. Enforcing this mandate will drive business away from Palmer. If I am given a choice between being forced to wear a mask in Palmer versus having the right to choose a lesson, I will choose lesson life in time. Even though it goes against my very public being, I will go on principle. Local businesses have suffered enough throughout this pandemic and it will only hurt our local economy even more. Specifically, small businesses and business owners and all their employees dependent on their success. We don't need to be Anchorage. We can still be polite citizens while maintaining distance and being respectful of those around us. We don't need to be forced to wear a mask, especially when the science doesn't support it. This appropriate statement is for welcomes from Judge 6. Sincerely, Stacy Cobham. Linda Combs. As I am unable, Madam Mayor and members of Palmer City Council, as I am unable to attend in person, I ask that this date will be read for the record of the meeting held this date by Palmer City Council. This year has certainly held a great many challenges for our citizens, our great state, and the community we call home. I have had a front row seat as a member of the Palmer City Council, Matsu Senior Services Board of Directors, Director of the Matsu Coalition on Aging, Commissioner for the State of Alaska's Commission on Aging when it comes to access to the current COVID-19 effects on our state and community. Citizens of Palmer and those who own most of the businesses here have struggled with the necessary changes this year has brought to us. I, for one, have been immensely proud of the response of our community to deal with current events. However, it is the fact that our friends and neighbors, as well as producers of commerce in Palmer, have suffered. I want to point out that the governor, in his message to us all recently, did not mandate the precautions that he and the state of Alaska have been urging Alaskans to follow since the very beginning of this health emergency, that include face covering and social distancing, as well as avoidance of large gatherings. This proposed ordinance is not necessary, and in fact is harmful to Palmer, particularly to its economic health, just as the time when our merchants are hoping for the relief of a reasonably prosperous holiday season. You as a council are charged with many responsibilities, not the least of which is to ensure that our business community has an environment in which to thrive. There is little doubt if you have followed popular on social media that a very great number of individuals have pledged to no longer shop in Palmer. Since a large number of individuals no longer spend their monies and acres because of the mandate that is in place and businesses in touch closed because of such, I think we have a clear enforcement. We have asked to disagree. Let's reinforce our will on uttering the important lines. We should encourage, promote, emphasize, suggest, but never compel our fellow citizens to comply with decisions designed to take away their individual right to choose. After consideration of all that you will hear, I ask that you not impose this mandate on the city of Palmer.
Dear Palmer City Council, I urge you not to implement a mask mandate or any other restrictive mandates in Palmer as a COVID response. I assure you my position is not one from anti-mask but anti-mandate. In implementing a mask mandate, you have removed personal responsibility and autonomy from individuals and put the city council and government in charge of everyday affairs that are personal. In a free society, individual businesses as well as individuals themselves should be allowed to decide their own mask policies and implement them. There is more than enough controversy surrounding the efficiency of masking that makes it questionable in the first place. Additionally, with the mandate in place, businesses are forced to become the unpaid enforcers of the mandate. They should be free to set and enforce their own policies. With the mandate, those same businesses will suffer because people will take their businesses elsewhere. Furthermore, the suggestion of implementing fines for those who choose not to mask, requiring additional staffing is draconian and cumbersome. For a purely economical standpoint, families are leaving Anchorage because of the mandates and moving to the valley. They have been choosing to drive to the valley to shop and enjoy our personal freedoms. Comments include, I feel like you can breathe and I feel freedom in the air. Let us be free people who make their own decisions about our personal well-being and the common sense God gave us to make right choices. You are certainly free to do the same. Thank you for your time, Captain Conn. Alexis Cook. Hi, my name is Alexis Cook and I'm requesting a comments be read into the record of the meeting on November 18th. I'm emailing in opposition of the proposed mandate for mask wearing. I'm an Alaskan resident and an avid Palmer business supporter. However, should this pass, it will strongly deter me from spending any time or money in Palmer until it is rescinded. Many reputable doctors have spoken out against mask mandates, stating how they don't have everyone believes they do, and it gives false sense of security and also results in lower blood oxygen levels. Cloth masks in particular have also been implicated in the rise of opportunistic infections like pneumonia, so they are not without risk. Also, the World Health Organization has come out saying that COVID spread is rare through asymptomatic people, so if they don't have symptoms, then what purpose does the mask really have? Along with that, there are many communities where masks are already required and COVID levels have increased, so again, what purpose does the mask really have? Additionally, in countries that touts freedom, individuals should have the right to determine what measures they take to ensure their health. It's not the job of city clerks to enforce it upon us. I would hope that our elected officials will honor our freedoms and rights and leave medical decisions up to individuals. Thank you for your time and for protecting our rights. Take care. Loves is good.
Oh, this is the one that was in the program, remember it was Desiree, when we read it last week. Yeah. We're good.
Can you say what you're talking about?
Yes,
so
so there is an email from Desiree Cook that this email was put under her. This email was actually already read into the record on November 18th.
I didn't understand what you said. What did you say?
So on November 18th, last Wednesday, when we were reading the proponents, Desiree Cook, who is an opponent, was filed in the proponent. We read it that night, and I properly filed it in here
Oh,
for
okay.
your record.
So this is already on the record, it was just in the wrong.
That's right, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, thank you. Does everybody hear that online? Sometimes there's little conversations over there. No, okay, great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Everybody hear okay?
Warren Cook, thank you for the opportunity to voice my objection to this ordinance and hope that you will not disregard the personal freedoms and liberties of the people in our community. Warren Cook. Joshua Cooley. Palmer City Council members, my name is Joshua.
Did you read one?
Yeah, she just read it.
Did you read this whole thing?
Warren Cook. That's what we have, is that one.
This is what I showed. This is Warren Cook at the top.
Darn, what kind of date is on? Okay, first page, second page, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Catherine. Yeah. Okay, reading.
Warren Cook, to whom it may concern. I'm requesting that this testimony be read into in its entirety at the planned special council meeting for the city of Palmer on November 18, 2020 regarding proposed mask mandates outlining the emergency ordinance number 20-016. It is my intent to address growing concerns among Palmer residents, specifically in Alaska as a whole, regarding mask mandates for our government body. This is not an attempt to persuade or dissuade the public opinion about the efficiency of masks or face coverings, but rather an attempt to protect individual freedoms and liberties from infringement. As we've heard in the emergency ordinance, the governor of Alaska and CDC are asking and recommending citizens to wear masks. It is imperative that the distinction be made between an attempt to inform and encourage action versus an attempt to ensure compliance by force. By seeking adoption of emergency ordinance 20-016, the city council will force compliance. With a simple majority vote and a stroke of the pen, the elected council will enact emergency powers to force compliance using all available enforcement options. This particular verbiage raises a red flag and should signal an warning to all Palmer residents and businesses. The text is shrouded in obscurity. Not only does the ordinance fail to clearly identify what sort of fines or criminal charges will be levied for failure to comply, but it also fails to identify a metric for evaluating the effectiveness of the ordinance. The ordinance is intended to be temporary in nature and shall last the duration of any emergency ordinance no more than 60 days. But what prohibits the city council from extending the emergency ordinance or passing the same ordinance after the 60-day expiration? The emergency ordinance also states that businesses and building owners shall deny admittance to any individual who fails to comply with this order and shall require or compel removal of such individuals from the premises. Does this mean that every business is required to carry out the council's ordinance despite incurring additional labor costs, and should the enforcement of a mask face covering ordinance, which is highly contested even among health care professionals, honestly be the responsibility of the business? Should law enforcement officers be forced to neglect their daily duties to ensure that every child over the age of 5 is wearing a mask in the public space. I respect the freedoms guaranteed to organizations, churches, businesses, etc. But these are private entities that elect to incorporate a policy requiring masks. It is each person's individual choice whether or not to be subject to that policy, but the emphasis is on individual choice. The emergency ordinance removes the freedom of choice for both the private entity and the private citizen. I am curious, by implementing the proposed emergency ordinance, is the Palmer City Council interfering with that the residents of our community lack the mental fortitude to make sound, conscious decisions regarding their own personal health and well-being or that of others? Alaskans are resilient.
So there, please read that sentence.
Alaskans are a resilient and independent group of people and will continue to help one another through these difficult times, and not at the whims of a group seeking to gain control over that population. Warren Cook. Josh Cooley. Palmer City Council members, my name is Josh Cooley and I oppose ordinance 20-016, enacting an emergency mask or face covering mandate on these grounds. One, face coverings are already in wide use in our community. Many businesses require them, and I respect their choice by complying, as do most other patrons I have observed. I also see masks being utilized in a variety of other public settings in the community. Studies of mask mandates across the country show an average increase in usage of only 9% and 15% if enforced. 2. Anchorage's mandates has not proven to be very effective. Masks have been mandated in Anchorage since June 29th, yet they are experiencing the same spike in cases as the MAT 2. In fact, Anchorage's case rate for the last 14 days is more than double that of the MAT 2. Yet the entry mayor has doubled down on the mandate while putting the burden of the enforcement on business owners and their employees. Small businesses that are in danger of closing from decreased customer traffic are required to place additional demands on their already stressed workers. 3. Palmer is not encouraged. By simply copying the mandate, the City Council would not be taking into consideration the needs and challenges specific to our own town. If the Council desires to act with measures to reduce the effects of COVID-19 on residents, then you should craft a targeted ordinance with specific goals and the data to back it up. This ordinance, as presented, is too vague in its enforcement and fails to adequately define the emergency it is attempting to address. It simply does not represent the community of Palmer. I appreciate the desire to assist the governor in his call for action, but good intentions do not redeem this deficient ordinance. I respectfully ask you for your no vote. Joshua Cooley.
Right?
Yep, so the next is a few handful of coons, and we did receive testimony, multiple testimony, so it is entered into the record.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Jed Crest. Referring to ordinance 20-016, I am a frequent customer to multiple small businesses throughout the city of Palmer. I believe this mandate will be detrimental to the economy of Palmer and destroy the little bit of businesses these small businesses have after the year shutdowns and restrictions due to COVID-19. Those who feel the need to wear a mask should mask up, but a government mandate only will be the immersion in those who shop, eat, and recreate in Palmer. Ordinance 20-016 will push a large population of the general public to bring business elsewhere. I will be one of those people. I love Palmer and hate to see the economy take another hit after this already difficult year for all. I would like this letter to be heard for the record on Wednesday, November 19, 2020. Thank you, Jed Crest. Taylor Crawford. To the Palmer City Council, I understand you are bringing up a face covering mandate because you are concerned about the health of your community. Most businesses and government buildings in Palmer already hadn't issued a mask requirement. As residents of Palmer, my opinion is that we should have the freedom to choose our own risk profile. If we want to shop somewhere where everyone's wearing a face covering, then we will shop there. If not, we can choose to shop at a store that doesn't require face coverings. Here is that the CDC says about the efficiency of cloth face masks. Studies of cloth mask efficacy. In 2015, we conducted a randomized controlled trial to compare the efficacy of cloth mask with that of medical masks and controls standard practice among healthcare workers in Vietnam. Rates of infection were consistently higher among those in the cloth mask group than in the medical mask and control groups. This finding suggests that the risk for infection was higher for those wearing cloth masks. The mask tested was a locally manufactured double-layered cotton mask. Participants were given 5 cloth masks for a 4-week study period and were asked to wash the mask daily with soap and water. The poor performance may have been because the masks were not washed frequently enough or because they became moist and contaminated. Medical and cloth masks were used by the same participants in the control group, but the poor performance of cloth masks persisted in post-hoc analysis when we compared all participants who used medical masks from the control and the medical mask groups with all participants who used only cloth masks from the control and the cloth mask group. We also examined the filtration ability of cloth masks by reviewing 18 studies. We found that the filtration effectiveness of cloth masks is generally lower than that of medical masks and respirators. Filtration effectiveness of cloth masks vary widely. Some materials filter better than others. Filtration effectiveness of cloth masks depends on many factors, such as thread count, number of layers, type of fabric, and water resistance. One study tested medical masks and several household materials for the ability to block bacterial and aerosols. Participants made masks from different materials, and all mask testers showed some ability to block the microbial aerosol challenges, although less than that of medical masks. Another study found that homemade cloth masks may also reduce aerosol exposure, although less so than medical masks and respirators. Masks made of cotton and towel provide better protection than masks made of gauze. Although cloth masks are often not designed to fit around the face, some material may fit snugly against the face. One study found use of nylon stockings around the mask improved filtration. A.B. Miller, ETL, above. There's a link. Okay. Mayor Crocker. Alan Cruz. Please read the following to the record. The Palm City Council meeting scheduled to be held at 211 West Evergreen Avenue on Wednesday, November 18th, 2020. To the Palm City Council. Reference to fully written and very poorly conceived ordinance 20-016 presented by Sabrina Collins. I'm adamantly opposed to this ordinance. The city of Palmer needs to consider the consequences of her actions if this ordinance is passed. All of Palmer's tax revenues will disappear, and you will severely cripple any businesses in Palmer, as I, for one, will not do business in Palmer if this ordinance is passed. The fact that you are giving the city of Palmer the right to use all available enforcement options to ensure compliance is against our personal and constitutional guaranteed rights, and there are no enforcement options that are constantly available in this matter. Combs should be censured for her actions in a direct attempt to shut down the already slowed economic situation in Palmer and remove individual freedoms, forcefully attempting the city of Palmer to violate the Constitution of the United States and attempting to place businesses under full government control. I call for Combs' immediate resignation. Ken Cunningham. I am formally protesting Combs' mask mandate resolution and her 24-hour meeting resolution. Not only is her drafting mandate not based on current CDC guidance, the 24-hour emergency meeting provision does not provide for our right to properly assemble to address our concerns. As Americans, we have the right to air our concerns in person. While we do not have to agree, we do have the right to show in person. This 24-hour vote needs to be directed along with the mask mandate in Cunningham. Delphine Ryan. This will be short and sweet and to the point. Please do not pass a mandate requiring masks in Palmer. Any mandate limits our freedom to choose. Please do not allow the policies of bigger cities to interfere with our simple rural living. We are not Anchorage, and we should keep it that way. Duffy, Farming. Emily Davenport. For the request for public input, my answer is that it is a highly objectionable and unconstitutional item for the Palmer City Council to be involved in. Therefore, I am 100% against this action. Please have this read into the minutes of tonight's meeting. Emily Davenport. Craig Davey, Mayor of the City Council and City Clerk. I don't believe a mandate of any kind should come from the City Council. Times are tough with COVID-19, but Palmer is a small area and faring well for its size and proximity to Anchorage. The issues with masks for me is not if they work or not, if they work or don't, as varying different masks are rated for various purposes or unrated in most cases, COVID-19. Masks, if you follow the wording of the CDC, are for use when social distancing cannot be maintained or in a crowded, poorly ventilated space. Essentially a stopgap procedure. They are not and have not been a primary source of infection control for the general public, and they are not intended to be. They were just meant to be an added level for when social distancing cannot be maintained. A very recent study by CDC and the Vermont Department of Health showed in a prison, a staff member contracted COVID-19 even though he never spent 15 consecutive minutes within 6 feet of infected prisoners with COVID-19. Numerous brief, approximately 1 minute, encounters that cumulatively exceeded 15 minutes did occur. During his 8-hour shift on all interactions, the correctional officer wore a microfiber cloth mask, gown, and eye protection goggles. The infected prisoners wore face masks. The CDC now has a contact tracing guideline of 15 minutes total interaction at or within 6 feet if wearing masks, unless they are PPE rated, surgical rated, or N95. Cloth masks are designed for brief interactions where social distancing is not possible and to take strain off medical equipment supply, not long periods of use. No recent study has addressed periods of wear over 15 minutes and the consequences of viral buildup and distribution over time. Moisture buildup or other factors of extended wear. I am currently a student of emergency management, and I also attached to the CDC and Army infectious disease response for Ebola missions that occurred in Africa. Instead of quarantining for members returning from Africa, given my training and experience, I can see people are latching onto the only physical item they can in order to feel safe. And I witness everyday people overconfidence given their mask wearing. They have long conversations in private places with people not from their household. This is exactly why very educated people warn about initially. Sometimes a good idea becomes a bad idea when human nature is involved. The idea of having everyone wear masks is what's referred to as psychological safety, something that keeps people calm in an emergency situation, as social distancing and staying inside to go against our social nature and cause psychological harm to social beings. Masks have been used as this item. This should have been just a temporary step, with the leaders moving on from this to educate about the basic need for social distancing, limited contact times, and high-risk situations such as talking close, face-to-face, singing or yelling in enclosed and poorly ventilated spaces. Craig Davey. Crystal Davis. Regarding the mask mandate, we the people have the right to make our own decisions when it comes to wearing them. Does the government believe we are not smart enough to make our own decisions, that they need to tell us what to do? The people who feel they are at high risk during this COVID season need to stay home for a little while. If they so wish and have food delivered, groceries, etc., do not make it mandatory for the rest of us who choose to go out during this time. This is not something that warrants crippling our city or our country. People who go out can choose to wear a mask to protect themselves if they like. Those who don't feel endangered by this virus have the right not to wear one. We are talking about a virus with a 98% recovery rate, according to statistics. Is this worth crippling our city and economy? I say no, as I am sure many in the community agree. Sincerely, Crystal Davis. Melissa Davis. I'm responding to the proposed Palmer Ordinance 20-016. I do not feel this is the best interest of our community. Currently, the Mat Suburb has a population of 108 $300,000 with only 17 residents that have been hospitalized from the COVID-19 virus, which is a mere 0.01% of this population. Therefore, I oppose the proposed Palmer ordinance 20-016. In Las Vegas. Amanda Delbanco. To whom it may concern, in reference to emergency ordinance 20-016, I live outside Palmer city limits, but do most of my shopping in Palmer. I am very much against a mask mandate where I do business and will make every effort to take my business elsewhere if you impose such a mandate. Please read my comments to the record. Amanda Delbanco. Nelson Delbanco. To whom it may concern, in reference to emergency ordinance 20-016, I live outside Palmer city limits, but do most of my shopping in Palmer. I am very much against a mask mandate where I do business, and will make every effort to take my business elsewhere if you impose such a mandate. Please read my comment to the record. Nelson Delbanco. Amy G. Loach. I'm asking you to think about what you're doing. Many people moved here to have a free thought process. We did not move here for certain individuals to take away our rights. The mask mandate will cause issues for everyone. People will stop spending money and going out. Kami, K-A-M-I, will plummet. And slowly people will move away from here where they can be free. This community will no longer remain the same. I am begging you to know that. Council members who are liberal do not belong in our community. We must stick to the fundamental reasons of why we are here. I personally will not remain in this community if these people gain control. I will also not do business in this community. The mask is not a cure for COVID. It's just not even stop the germs from passing. For some reason, government has stepped in to control people. I did not move to Alaska to be controlled. I ask you to stop the insanity here. Anchorage will suffer for years to come over their decisions. You will cause a domino effect that will not be reversible in this element. I ask you to understand that a few people wanting to make changes does not speak for the ones who live here. These people were elected somehow into a position they need to earn. You are speaking for the people. I'm not in favor of this mandate, and now can't currently, otherwise I'd be very respectfully Amy DeLoche. Leslie DeLong. I'm writing to oppose the mask mandate. I see this proposal as a gross unconstitutional, overreaching reaction to a minor virus. They will do nothing but further divide in our community and spread fear around them. This is a minor virus with a 99% survival rate. It is not something as grave as smallpox or the Black Plague. Can we please stop acting like overly dramatic preteen girls and do some sense? No mask mandate. Leslie DeLong. Lisa DeLong. I'm writing you in opposition to mask mandate in Palmer, AKA. This year has been so hard on the business owners and all of our citizens, and we don't need a mayor on a power trip, making it even worse before the holidays. I find it despicable and ironic that people who believe abortion is right, my body, my choice, you pay for it, are the same people that are demanding that businesses close, holidays are canceled, and everyone wear a mask in order to protect others over a virus with a 99% survival rate. Seems to me if they were vigilant about a condom as they were about a mask, there would not be 100% certainty of over 862,000 deaths each year of our most vulnerable people. How about we have a mandate on condoms instead? Lisa in Alaska. This is that. She's involved with the ones? Yeah. Carmen D. Villalobos. Mayor DeVries, I would like to take a moment to express my concerns of the newly elected deputy mayor's decision to try and enforce a mask mandate into the city of Palmer. It is too much government overreach. We watched Anchorage tumble into desperation of the mandates. Businesses are suffering and people are angry. I do not want to see Palmer become suffocated to the point of businesses dying because of mandates that do not work. With the strictest mandates, Anchorage has not seen a decrease in numbers. Masks are not proving to work in the way they may have hoped they would. Just the opposite is happening. While numbers can look scary, you can see many examples all over the world of how this virus runs course is healthy for community. But the lockdown and impressions placed on the people have been destructive. Please don't let Mrs. Combs' progressive agenda kill our beautiful little town. I would like to attach an article that came out of Juneau from the hospital. Please take a moment to read what they've said about the lockdown and mandates and its effects on the children and families of the community. Just to make it known. Thank you, Carmen DeVillis. Second email from Carmen DeVillis. I would like to submit the following letter to the Assembly meeting called for November 18, 2020. Thank you, Madam Mayor and Palmer City Assembly. Before you make a rash decision and take away the freedoms of the people in the city of Palmer and the people who come here to support our businesses, it would be wise to take a few things into consideration. First, look at what is happening across our nation. Mask mandates have not worked.
Keep going.
Mask mandates have not worked nor have mass shutdowns. The coronavirus continues to spread. Experts have said this is a virus that will continue into 2022, not to mention the projections of COVID 2021. We will have to live with it for now. There's no shame in contracting this virus, and we should stop shaming individuals into submission. Second, economics have suffered drastically under heavy-handed mandates. We can look 30 miles south and see that Anchorage is a mess. Businesses are suffering or closed permanently due to the Assembly's lack of wisdom in their shutdowns, yet their numbers remain high. Third, many businesses have taken to heart the governor's recent message and have taken measures on their own to require masks within the buildings. The decision should be left up to them. The borough has taken measures to close down the public areas such as the virus. The city's assembly has no need to impose strict measures upon citizenry. Fourth, if we reach herd immunity, we will be able to work toward a thriving community. Those who have had COVID-19 will be able to work without hindrance among Alaskans. There will not be a need to have our healthcare workers sent home when hospitals function on shoestrings. Before we start commenting that you can catch it again, I would like to bring to light there is no purpose to a vaccine. Our immune system does not work that way.
Oh, sure. We've been requested to have a 5-minute break. I have 10:32, so we'll come back at 10:37.
Thank you for all who have joined us here today. Do not forget to like and share. Facebook squeals on you if you don't. Just for those that are catching in right now or have been listening in, they are doing all of the reading of all the ones that object to the mask mandate happening. At the beginning of this thing, they read all the ones that were for. Current count 205 for the mandate, and the end count for against should be somewhere around 498, 3-1 against the mandate happening. Almost.
How many more can we leave?
About 300. Actually, going by the stack, about 350 more.
That we read tonight.
I salute you, young lady. Have fun.
Yeah.
I'm going home. I'm done.
I mean, look, Mike, I mean, this is how many we have left. And we didn't even read all of these tonight because we had already read 50 of those.
Yeah.
So even going
I tell you
till
what,
midnight and then having a continuing
I'm
meeting.
just so tired of, it's like, Hillary Clinton called us the horribles. And then we get called, oh, you're intolerant, you're irresponsible because you're not wearing a mask. I'm just tired. I'm done with the tolerant not being tolerant. None of the testimony this afternoon from our side has said, oh, you're a bad person for wearing a mask. Not one.
Well, go home and have some good turkey tomorrow or
I
maybe.
may go home and have myself a shot of Jack Daniels.
Well, hopefully you'll have.
Or I have a
better than that.
black velvet. I've got a bottle of that Jack Daniels Gentleman Jack, the second barrel. Yeah, I got that. When President Trump wins this, I'm cracking down that
You're
boy.
gonna crack it open?
Oh, I'm gonna crack that bad boy open.
All righty, well, enjoy Thanksgiving.
All right.
Okay. Good. Looks like we still have more to read than what we've already read, right?
Parallel universe.
We haven't even finished the two yet. We haven't even finished the twos yet.
I know.
But remember the proponent and neutral.
Yeah, but I mean, when you look at the stack,
Oh, I know.
you know, compared to that, I mean, will we even get it finished if we have continuation?
I don't know. Warm is better math than me.
How early people could come, or maybe try to have it on Saturday or something, just come in and get it done. I don't know, I'll see what the council has to say. Yep.
Nice walk home.
Minutes. Norma had to make a phone call, girl. If you want to wait for me, if not, I don't mind keeping.
Okay, okay, all right, I can do that.
It was pretty crummy coming in. It was
It was
like
like wet.
sleet and raining and, yeah.
So what, you see, I'm just saying, I was just keeping.
Yeah, it is.
You watched the other day?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I guess I know some stuff.
Oh, you gotta hear it fast. You don't want anybody like,
I didn't go, I don't know, I was checked. All right.
Yeah, no, we're seeing it wrong.
I see, I don't.
I'm right next to it.
John?
Where's she here?
Oh, absolutely.
Claire?
Yeah, okay, bring me out the bullpen. Okay.
Batter up here.
Okay, am I reading or am I timing?
Time there.
Okay, good. Because I don't read good.
You want to read?
I'll read.
Sure, okay. Here, you can read till Norma gets back.
Okay, yeah, because I know she doesn't like people sitting in her seat. She give me this dirty looks.
She
Like,
read
get out of my seat.
That's right. Yeah, my
Okay, which one am I reading?
This one, and then you just slide straight over.
So here?
Okay, so this is the numb file.
Oh,
We still have.
oh,
I
okay.
think we're
So
starting.
here, but I need you to read.
Oh, but not the ones that test, correct?
Yeah, those are the ones that actually came and testified.
Okay, so what am I doing here?
You need to do this one.
Yeah, right there. Okay, then what am I doing after this one?
You slide this one over, you just do over here.
Oh, okay. Okay, you ready?
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
Just a minute. I'm gonna go ahead and call everybody back to order. We have a new reader,
Hold on, I think we're muted.
okay?
Here.
But did we already read this from Carmen DeVilbiss?
Yeah, she's done. We,
Okay.
She is done?
Oh, I understand here. Okay,
Ori, I think, is the next.
start clock. We said get 30 of these done in the next 10 minutes.
Okay.
You are it? Are we on it? Are we on it? On that?
All right, now we're good there. All right, now.
Okay,
Okay.
go for it.
For Ms. Corey Greaves, dear Palmer City Council, I'm ready to oppose the emergency ordinance number 20-016, which would impose a mask mandate on the city of Palmer. As stated by Dr. Nick Papakostas in the recent Anchorage Assembly meeting, our hospitals are not overwhelmed with COVID patients, nor are our ICUs. It is normal for hospitals to run at higher capacity this time of year. Elective surgeries are still being performed, which would not be the case if our hospitals were truly on the verge of overwhelm. The governor's emergency alert should not be used as an excuse to force masks on Palmer. While he does believe masks may be effective in some settings, he does not believe mask mandates to be effective. He certainly has not requested or even insinuated that local communities should mandate them. Our local businesses have suffered greatly over the course of this year. The vast majority of them do not wish to be burdened with the responsibility of enforcing a mask mandate. They're also aware that if this passes, many will shop, dine, and conduct business elsewhere just as Anchorages have come in droves to the valley to do so. Many have even moved from Anchorage to the valley to escape Anchorage tyrannical public servants who have stepped far beyond the boundaries of their offices and no longer serve their constituents as they were elected to do. Our children need to see faces. The neural pathways which form in their brains allow them to process facial structure, expression, and recognition do not mature until they are 14 years old. Secondarily, bacterial infections, face shields, and dental degeneration from the use of masks are all very real and being recognized by health professionals. Many who cannot wear masks are also unable to wear face shields. Why are we discriminating against healthy people in this way? Anchorage has had a mask mandate for months, with the vast majority of residents complaining if their case counts have not shown improvement as results. Our case counts in the valley have actually been declining over the past week. Why put a mask on the situation, damaging businesses and individuals in the process when our city is doing well and most residents who you are supposed to serve do not wish it? If this is something you support, please reconsider your stance on this issue for the good of our community and her residents. Sincerely, Corey DeBreeze. Next we have from Aaron Dixon, to whom it may
Okay,
concern.
there's Gordon DeVries.
But he was Aaron personally.
He was, but we needed to acknowledge him, right?
Yes, we do.
Oh,
Okay, we'd like to acknowledge Gordon DeVries who spoke last Wednesday. Okay, sorry, I'll learn. This is my first, it's my first day. It's my first day.
We're not gonna fire you yet, so don't worry.
Thank you, sir.
Please fire me. Okay, to whom it may concern, I'm a resident of Palmer, a resident of the United States. These mandates are largely considered unconstitutional. I have worked in and watched Anchorage shut down their local economy. They are not better for it as a community. People have lost their livelihoods, not by their choice or work ethic, which may kill them or bring undue hardship on their families for something, COVID-19, that statistically will affect them for a couple of weeks while they recover. It seems City Council needs to be reminded to serve the people of Palmer, not the City Council of Anchorage. Palmer has aided the health of our entire state by remaining free and open and free. These mandates are causing more hardship than the virus. I encourage you to do a little reading on the human immune system and how it functions. How/when masks are effective. How/when wearing masks can be detrimental to one's health. Read our Constitution and its purpose, which is to keep the government in check. We will trust at this point that people are staying home when sick. The virus will spread because it's a virus. Taking more tests that are largely proven inaccurate doesn't medically make a virus spike, especially when mortality rates continue to drop. Read the CDC site. Palmer does not need to be a pusher of a politically driven agenda to give government more control over the personal lives and decisions of citizens. There are so many negative consequences from these mandates that are intentionally not being discussed or hidden, or so many other known causes of death that are more preventable and kill far more people than COVID caused. Again, read the CDC site for that number. Even all this COVID-related deaths added to COVID-caused deaths. For example, cardiac disease, vehicle accidents, suicide, diabetes, etc. Anchorage is seeing the same spikes as the valley, if not worse. Not once has the media or city council spoke about the harsh, long-lasting effects on people when their economy and livelihoods are devastated. Again, I will repeat, the city of Palmer is there to serve the people of Palmer, not the city council of Anchorage. Palmer residents are not idiots, and by and large, look out for the best interests of our community, and we do not need a mandate on how to be in our city. This type of decision should have to be voted on by the people of Palmer. We have been a breath of fresh air for many across the state by not pushing all these mandates and allowing our local economy to thrive as best as possible. From Aaron Dixon. Okay, this is from, I think somebody you know, Sarah Dixon. I am opposed to the mask mandate. Individuals can make their own decisions on how they feel best to protect themselves. If certain people feel the virus is a legitimate threat, they can take measures for themselves. Masks, isolating, and distancing. Thanks, Sarah Dixon. Okay, this is from Bobby Dodd. No mask mandate for Palmer. I am 66 years old, overweight, and unlikely to run a marathon or run with my dog. But I'm healthy because I do not wear a mask. Even the CDC says they do not work and can cause lung illness. I'm not locked up and fearful over flu. I get sunshine every day. I use common sense and wash my hands. I do not cough, etc. in a crowd. Again, common sense. Be courteous to others. I'm very much against the Democratic power play to make everyone a caged sheeple. My freedom is more important than that. I want this email to be shared with this meeting tomorrow night, November 17, 2020. Democrats and our wannabes should not try to be sneaky. Someone always finds out and shares the truth. Blessed and protected by the Lord, Bobby God, fearless American. To whom it may concern, I would like to publicly say Palmer does not need a mandatory mask law, proposed ordinance 20-016. Please vote no on this, and please read this into the record at the City Council meeting on November 18, 2020. Thank you, Elishiva Dirksen. To whom it may concern, I would like the public to say that Palmer does not need a mandatory mask law, proposed ordinance 2016. Please vote no, and please read this into the record for City Council meeting on November 18, 2020. Thank you, Matthew Dirksen. For the record, Matthew was my architect on my house. Okay, this is from George Donner. Please read into record. I'm afraid mask mandates are proving false sense of security for those who most affected by CV-19. I used to prepare jury education material on behalf of pharmaceutical companies. This entailed explaining complex biological, industrial, and chemical processes to an audience unfamiliar with those subjects. I can tell you with certainty that while medical masks properly worn in sterile-controlled environments do not provide limited protection against a gross transfer of bacterial infection, they will not afford any appreciable protection against the viral transfer with normal environmental conditions. The majority of people will not replace the mask at least on a daily basis. Additionally, touching the mask, pulling the mask down, coughing, sneezing into the mask, contaminating the mask with food or normal bacteria exposure ultimately creates a scenario in which the mask becomes a health hazard itself. Those who are immune, compromised, or in otherwise fragile condition would best be advised to minimize public contact. Leading the vulnerable to believe that habitual mask wearing by family and the general public will help protect them against infection is essentially a security theater and dangerous. CV-19 is highly infectious. The good news is that only a small fraction of populace will require medical assistance of any kind. Please do not contribute to misinformation by continuing the campaign of mask mandates. It is misleading and contributes to an atmosphere of paranoia and fear that is not conducive to public health. Thank you for your time, George Donner. Are you still okay sitting over there on your seat?
Okay, they've got 300 to go, right?
297, okay. Corey Dewars. I've been forced to wear a mask at work, and let me tell you, it's been miserable. My sinuses are dried out, my throat is raw, I'm coughing more. I'm susceptible to bronchitis and laryngitis, but these masks do more harm than good. I cannot breathe fully with these on, which causes issues. These masks do nothing to prevent COVID-19. All they do is ruin our immune system to a multitude of other illnesses. I'm sure a lot of those ones pushing for this are like the 3 people just the other night at Fred Meyer's. I was parked only for 10 minutes and saw 2 people drive through and 1 person loan their vehicle wearing masks. It's insanity. If all you can't see is the absolute idiocy, you are in big trouble, all of you. Not to mention, I have no right to tell anyone else what to do with their small lives, or excuse me, their own lives and health. That is up to them. So why do you think you do? You all have no right to tell citizens what they can, can't, or should wear. If you think you do, you have a much bigger problem. You all have taken oaths of office, and I'm pretty sure taking away our personal rights wasn't part of that oath. I've been to several meetings in the borough, and I know for a fact you tend not to listen to a word your neighbors here in Palmer say. Time and time again, you have bowled us over to do whatever you want. I'm telling you now, this ordinance is so far along with any of you to even consider passing. Leave it up to businesses and individuals. I have no problem wearing a mask in our local shops when it's requested. That's a business owner's rights. We do not need or want you people making rules or laws against God's given and constitutionally given rights. I'm a lifelong Alaska, 20-year Valley resident. I'm sickened at the way people like you act in your positions. You are ruining everything that us sourdoughs love about the state. You will need to take a strong look in the mirror. You should be ashamed for even trying to push this. We have done way better this whole time over Anchorage, who has constant mask mandates. Why would you even think this would help? A very disappointed Alaskan, Carrie L. Rivers. Okay, I am asking that you my following comments be please read into the record at City Council meeting tonight, Wednesday, November 18th, 2020. I'm writing this email to urge the Palmer City Council not to pass a mask mandate on the people and patrons of Palmer. There has been no evidence that supports the effectiveness of masks. If masks were so effective, then Anchorage wouldn't have the case numbers they are showing. They have been masked for months with the vast majority of Anchorage population and patrons abiding by the mandate, and has shown to be completely ineffective at lowering case numbers at all. There are, however, plenty of studies that show the negative health effects that masks do have, from increasing the chance of developing bacterial pneumonia to anxiety attacks to lung cancer. There are so many reasons they are having detrimental effect on people overall. Not to mention the people who literally can't wear masks or face shields because of a mental health anxiety conditions. Masks are harmful in so many ways. I'm urging you to consider all the negative effects you'll be inflicting on the people of Palmer if you choose to pass a mandate that has no real evidence of helping stop the spread of the virus in any way. Sincerely, Jessica Durham. Okay, from Randy Durham. I stand firmly against the mask mandate. I will request that my comments be read in the public record special council meeting on Wednesday, November 18th. In regards to the proposed mask mandate for the township of Palmer, I ask the town council to truly take this seriously. As to date, the science has shown that the use of masks has no significant effect on the transmission of illness, but in fact, some cases they have been shown to increase the chances of illness. And as seen in Anchorage, a mask mandate has not worked to stop the spread. Anchorage has masked up for months and their numbers continue to increase. Do not try and convince us that this is from not masking up. The vast majority of Anchorage has been wearing masks everywhere. Anchorage has shown to do nothing except damage the local economy and put livelihoods at risk. Additional data from other countries does not show masks helping decrease numbers. As far as business enforcing this mandate, it is not a business right to make a medical decision for or discriminate against your patrons who cannot wear a face covering or face shield. As a store manager outside Palmer city limits, I will never refuse service to a customer because they do not have a face covering. It's bad for business, bad for the economy, and adds additional stress to my customers. Sincerely, Randy Durham. Okay, to Palmer Mayor, and City Council. In reference to proposed ordinance 2016, I would like to voice my opposition for the following reasons. Sales tax income and business revenue will likely be reduced as shoppers who normally shop in Palmer will choose to shop in Wasilla where there is no mask mandate in place. Much of the residents in the Matsu Borough live between the formal cities of Palmer and Wasilla, making the distance negligible. This ordinance would also push more shopping to online, which deepens the economic damage already done by this disease. Rather than using established law enforcement, the ordinance proposes to use business owners, employers, and their employees to bear the brunt of enforcement. While expected residents of Alaska to be much more civil, this philosophy led to the death of a bus driver in France. Number 3, mask mandates are far from the solution. Despite Anchorage having mask mandates since July 1, municipality of Anchorage continues to have the second highest case count per capita compared to the remainder of the state. 0.08% of population being new cases in the last 2 weeks. Meanwhile, the Matsu Borough, which is orange with effect, 0.02% of the land area and 6% of population, continues to have a relatively low case count, around 0.03% of the population being new cases in the last 2 weeks, some of the lowest in the state. While I don't live or work in City Palmer, I do live and work nearby and frequent businesses. Many businesses at Palmer are small, locally owned, and are trying to figure out how to navigate the situation as is. Leave it up to the individual businesses to decide if they want to require masks in their stores. Sincerely, David Durst. Did I lose my job?
No,
Yeah, just hold on for a minute. According to our clock here, it is about 3 minutes to 11. What is the wishes of the council? Do you want to extend for an hour, or do you want to take a see
Madam Chair, just to put it in reference, we have about 295 left, I believe, and we've gotten through 254 that we've read.
Yeah, I can't get these done in an hour.
So, we are truly just about halfway. I'm guessing that about 20 or so more of those are already read. We're literally just about halfway right now. So that's just for reference. I'm not saying either way. I'm just telling you.
okay, it's a fact.
So what about the people? Are you ready to call it good for a night and we'll continue, or let's decide on when we will continue to hear the rest of them? What's the wishes of the council?
Madam Mayor, I'll make that motion.
Okay, so to continue the meeting, should we go ahead and put in the motion date? And in order to get it, we get it in the Sunday paper, I guess, if we wanted to do it next Wednesday night, right?
Well, Friday's a holiday. No, but it is for staff, so no one will be around to do the notice, unfortunately. So I want to make it clear that if you are wanting to do next week by a recess, a continuation is a recess, right? We're recessing. By making this announcement tonight, it does meet the requirement of letting the public know and letting them have it, but it does not do well with what our practice has been of making sure we're noticing.
So if we can't
So
get
getting
it
it
in
on Facebook is easy to do?
if we can't get it in Sunday's paper, then what is the next time we can do an ad for a continuation meeting?
The next paper is Wednesday.
December, when does that ad have to be in?
Frontiersman has their papers on Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
You know, but what's the deadline for Wednesday's paper? Isn't it Monday?
Yes.
So we could go ahead then, and then
Have it
it would be posted in Monday's paper.
No, we posted in Wednesday, December 1st paper.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Trying to get in detail. You could do that notice in the Frontiersman on the 1st of December. Have a meeting on Thursday because we could get it posted on our Facebook page. Because remember, our code does state that we have that or option. Website,
that kind of stuff. So, and people seem to have been connected with this meeting and the notices on Facebook. We've heard some testimony that, let us know on Facebook, let us know on Facebook. So it seems that's where predominantly people have gone. So it's up to the council. The council is comfortable.
I need a motion to extend to midnight, and we'll wrap this up in the next 5 minutes, but I need a motion to,
So moved.
okay.
Second.
Okay. Discussion on the motion? Okay, and Deputy Clerk, will you take the roll, please? Or I don't know, who's going down there?
Oh. I don't have the agenda, so I don't have time. I can do the list of names by memory.
All right, will this be the motion to extend or the motion to have the meeting next?
Extend.
This is the motion to extend past 11 o'clock tonight.
Thank you.
This is not a motion to set the next meeting.
Right, yeah. Councilmember Del Valerius?
This is a motion to just extend for another 5 or 10 minutes so we can get this
Yes.
decided. Yeah.
So this will be, so I will be doing roll call for 6 until midnight tonight.
Yes.
All right, yes. Councilmember Brian Daniels?
Yes.
Councilmember Carrington?
Yes.
Councilmember Best?
Yes.
Councilmember Rich?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Spring-Combs? And then Mayor DeVries.
Yes. Okay. So now, all right, so we could have it in the paper on December 1st, which was next Wednesday, right?
Yes.
December 2nd.
No, that calendar's wrong.
Oh, we don't have 31 days in November.
Oh.
Let me do this. So what we're doing is we're looking at the calendar hanging on the wall, and we have a 31, and then it really doesn't have 31. So I was getting confused, I'm sorry.
Okay.
December 2nd.
So the 2nd would be when the ad would be in the paper, and then we could have it the night of the 3rd of December. How many people can on the council? And I know tonight we started at 5, but we're still only halfway done, so can we meet any earlier? Or should we maybe extend it to that Saturday and then be able to just come in and wrap them out? Or because if
What day were we talking about?
we were talking about the 3rd of December, that's when we can.
Thursday?
Pardon?
That's a Thursday?
Yes. Is that when you have your surgery?
That would be difficult for me.
That's because of your surgery, huh?
Well, yeah, and we're trying to do both, yeah.
Okay. So then what about the 4th, the night of the 4th?
Friday night?
That's Friday? Or even on that Saturday, the 5th, and then we can have more time, because we're gonna need, we spent tonight already 6 hours. And we still have at least 6, probably closer to 7 hours of reading.
Perhaps we should go to midnight tonight.
We could do some more reading, but, because I would anticipate we'll want, on our next meeting, if we get done with all the reading, there will be some discussion, probably before we take the vote. At least maybe 20 minutes or a half hour, right?
Madam Mayor?
Yes, go ahead, sir.
Well, part of my difficulty is, well, I've got a doctor's appointment on Tuesday, but next Saturday, the 5th, is it? Is a drill weekend, so if I get permission to return to work, I'll probably be expected to be working the 5th.
So you'd be working on the 5th, okay? Okay, what about the night of the 4th?
Madam Mayor,
That could do happen.
Okay. Yes, Deputy Mayor?
Thank you. Is it possible to start earlier? I don't know what everyone's schedules are, but is it possible to start at like 4?
Yeah, well, let's try a date and then we'll see, okay? So is there anyone else or can everyone meet on Friday, December 5th? On the 4th, yeah, you're right, I had that for Saturday, thank you. So December 4th.
The 4 and 4?
Yeah, and everybody meet at December 4 at 4.
Madam Mayor, I have training that is supposed to go right until 4, and I'm not sure whether, I would be able to come, but I may be late.
Okay, or we can start maybe, can I ask you without, being too personal, is your training online so you would be able to jump from one to the other, or do you have to travel from someplace, or?
It is online.
Okay, so you could jump from one
So,
place.
yeah, I just don't know how you never know how a schedule goes.
Right, so would 4:15 maybe be better for you?
I'm not sure because I haven't had any of the training yet, I don't know if we'll get done right on time or not.
Okay. Right, let me ask what everybody else is. So on December 4th at 4, is there anybody that cannot or has a better suggestion? Yeah, Councilman.
I'm pretty sure I can be here at 4, but I'll be opening at the shop, and if it just happens in our crossover that it's really busy for some reason, it'd kind of be the same situation where I might be a little late. I'm pretty sure I can be here at 4 o'clock.
Okay, and could you make but December 4th is okay, it's just
Yeah,
because it's a
absolutely.
little earlier.
Yeah, and I should be able to plan it out to where I can be here early. I just wanted to, because you never know.
All right, further comments on December 4th at 4?
Technically, I have a physical therapy at 4, but I'll contact them on Monday and see if I can get a different slot.
Okay.
So,
Okay, Councilman Best, I am Councilwoman Rupert, I haven't heard from either one of you, so, and I can't see any hand motion from Councilman Best, Councilwoman Rupert.
I have no objection.
Okay, Councilwoman Rupert, then, are you okay?
I'm fine with that too.
Yeah, I'm not reading that.
Glad to do the launches tonight, if we could.
Okay, yeah, that still, I don't think is gonna make, enough of a dent, so,
Yeah.
we still need to have 4, but, yeah. Okay.
I love you. I know. You've been to the Mr.
Okay, so then, I guess,
Pick me up. Okay.
you're-
I knew it was going last.
But we can hear you.
So, Councilman Best, I think you had started a motion a little bit ago, and I interrupted you so that you could extend the time. So, I don't know if this motion is something that you want to make, or if somebody else wants to make it.
Madam Mayor, this is to extend tonight's meeting, but this is to continue it on Friday at 4 of next week.
Yeah, December 4th, and to be sure then we get it in the Monday's paper, this next Monday's paper, so everybody has a chance to see that as well as on Facebook. Okay, is there a second? Okay, so it's been moved and seconded. Further discussion on that motion? So we have maybe 2 council people that will be here that might be a little bit late. Okay.
We should have a quorum, right? Oh, that's what you're saying, is we would have a quorum. Sorry, I heard you say we wouldn't, sorry.
All right. Further discussion on that motion for the continuation meeting. And the only other thing I would say, I guess, is that we be sure that the way we're going to do this continuation meeting is reflected in the order of business. So we don't have the conflict we had tonight regarding the order of business and what was stated there. Okay.
Yes, we'll provide further clarification on that. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
So that night, we will continue to read into the record all of the comments. And then we will go into the motion or the action of the council. Is that correct? Is that where everybody is for that meeting? Okay. All right. And then Deputy Clerk, then would you take the roll for the motion that is to set the meeting at 4 p.m. on Friday, December 4th, and the ad will be in the newspaper this coming Monday, which is
Wednesday.
3rd. Yeah, will be put in the newspaper on Monday for Wednesday. Yeah, okay. I'll take that.
Councilmember John Blarius,
Yes.
Councilmember Ryan Daniels,
Yes.
Councilmember Steve Carrington,
Yes.
Councilmember Richard Best,
Yes.
Councilmember Julie Burrick,
Yes.
Council Deputy Mayor Sabrina Combs, and Mayor Edna Breeze.
Yes. And I think that I get from the discussion that we want to go ahead and do another half hour, 40 minutes of reading, or what is the wishes of the council? Councilman Daniels, do you want more reading, or are you ready to go home? More reading, okay, definitely. More reading, okay. What about anybody online? Okay, everybody else, okay. All right, so go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, thank you for providing that clarification. We'll get everything done for next week's meeting. So starting, David Edgerton.
Hey, did it look like these?
Yeah, I was looking for those. Oh, I can't wear yours. Thank you. I apologize, I didn't have that ready. David Edgerton. I am writing to comment on the proposed face mask ordinance 20-016. As a lifelong Alaskan and Palmer resident, I have been proud to call this place home. As a place once known for its strong and independent people, I find it troubling to see the way things are heading. These mandates force people to wear something on their bodies that they might not believe in is wrong. From what I have seen, the use of masks has caused more people to get sick than prevented. We have more people wearing masks than ever before, and the case count is still on the rise. The majority of people you see don't even know how to properly wear a mask or clean them after each use, deeming them ineffective. COVID can also be contracted through the eyes as well. Are we going to be forced to wear face shields next? All of these things are getting pushed on us under the impression of keeping us safe from a virus. That the majority of the population has a 99+% recovery rate. As an American, I am responsible for the health and well-being of my family, myself and family, not big or local governments. Listen to the science. As most people pushing these policies will say, yet you have things like the Great Barrington Declaration that has been signed by over 43,000 medical and public health scientists stating how a lot of these policies are causing more harm than good. Why aren't leaders listening to them? If you feel the mask will protect you, then by all means go ahead and wear one, but don't force me to put something on my body that I do not agree with. I find it somewhat concerning that it states in the proposal that the city reserves the right to use all available enforcement options to ensure compliance with this ordinance. What exactly does this mean? Arresting people for not complying? Is this the new norm every time a sickness is going around? The fact of the matter is that we will all be exposed to this virus no matter what we do. It will run its course and we will continue on just like we've always done. If this mandate goes through, it will hurt local businesses even more than they already are. I will be doing business elsewhere, along with many people I know. I do everything I can to shop and support local business, but I refuse to give into this outright disregard for our personal freedoms as Americans. As Thomas Jefferson once stated, there is no justification for taking away individuals' freedom in the guise of public safety. David Edgerton. Gail Edgerton. Dear Palmer City Council, once again the mask debate rages on, now in our small Alaskan town of Palmer. We have all heard the arguments on all sides of this, and like most of the world, we are weary with this virus and all it represents. We can all find data and proof to support our opinions on the effectiveness of mask wearing. Fact is, this virus is going to be around a long time, masks or not. It has a 99+% survival rate. We can expect peaks and valleys, it's normal. More tests produce more positives, but deaths are down. This means we have learned how to treat this virus effectively over the past 9 months. We need to continue to protect the most vulnerable and return to normal life, not live in perpetual fear. Hospitals generally run close to capacity this time of year during flu season. No one seems to be dealing with the mental health and economic impacts of all this. Just mask up, shut up, and collect your stimulus payments, no things. We Alaskans are independent, hardworking, and self-sufficient as a whole. But it seems if we don't buy into the current studies that masks help, we are labeled as selfish, uncaring, and even killers. Pennsylvania just ordered indoor masking for any visitors in your home. Where does it end? I, as well as many other Americans, have seen how politics and money have played into this pandemic. How many millions has our state and local governments gained in funding for COVID? Can you really blame the public for not trusting the CDC after watching this circus of ever-changing information? I was stunned to see that our online survey on this issue asked which political party you were and how conservative. Really? What does that have to do with your interest in public health? Once again, we see the blatant bias and division right here on our local level. Very, very sad. Palmer is not the same town I was born and raised in. The town 4 generations of my family have called home. Sincerely, Gail Becker. Sarah Edgerton, hello. I would like to have my testimony written into the record for this ordinance emergency note for tourism services. I have had a small business in the city of Palmer for 12 years. I love that people are given the choice to choose. I am a 5th generation Palmer person, and for years we have been given the right to do what we feel in our gut is best for ourselves and our families. I have clients that choose to not wear a mask, and I feel that the COVID virus for many is not even as bad as the regular flu. That said, I also recognize that for some it can be worse. I happily wear a mask for those that prefer to wear one or would be more comfortable with me wearing one. No problem. I even have specific times that they may come in and they are the only ones in the area, and everything has been thoroughly sanitized, as I do routinely as a general precaution. We are keeping a high level of cleanliness with or without masks. I have been unable to drink water for hours due to not being able to break away and wearing the mask. I have headaches and physically cannot stay awake when I get off work due to lack of oxygen. I ask you to please allow us the option to choose. I tell everyone it's your choice. I am happy to let you wear a mask and not judge you for your choice. You should do the same for me. Let's be kind. Sarah Edgerton. Eddie Russell Edmonds. Hello, my name is Eddie Russell Edmonds, 38, born and raised in Alaska. I want to start by saying thank you for letting us at least submit testimony via email, although I am in the meeting you're trying to get at. I'm not here to debate with you if masks are effective or not. What I will debate today is that it needs to remain a choice of the individual and not anyone else. I'm asking you to look at the forest for a moment, the big picture, if you will. Alaska is not only a beautiful place to be, it's the freest place I've ever been to in all my traveling, in all my studying, and in other places, which is one of my many reasons why I will never leave my home. I enjoy freedoms. I enjoy being able to make choices in my own life. I do not think it's okay for people or government to overreach and to make people do things against their will. God blessed us to live in a world where we have agency, the right to choose. I am asking you today to not trample on that God-given freedom which we all love and enjoy. Do so is like stepping onto an icy hill. You'll soon be somewhere that you didn't want to be and not have a way to get back up. I invite you to not use your agency to try to remove ours. Alaskans are very capable, smart, and independent people. You always have to be to live here. Please do not look down on us and our ability to use our agency to make your own choices. Please do not overreach your positions as city council members. Please do not make a mandatory mask mandate for the city of Palmer. Please do not enact an unlawful order. Please do not add to the stress the situation has already caused. Please do not enact an order that will not be able to be enforced. Please do not make a criminal out of me and your fellow neighbors and friends. Please say no to a mandatory mask mandate in Palmer, Alaska, and keep your Palmer free and constitutional. Thank you for your time and for reviewing my testimony. Eddie Russell Edmonds. Jennifer Eamon. Hello, I would like my comment read to the record. I do not support or believe mask mandates should be required in Palmer. Individuals should have the liberty to decide if they want to wear a mask. This is not the place of city government. Respectfully, Jennifer Eamon. Donna Adcock. It is my understanding that the Deputy Mayor of Palmer is proposing to institute a mask mandate for the city of Palmer. I was to go on record Voicing my disagreement with this mandate, masks have not been proven to stop the spread of any viruses in healthy adults. Thinking that making the wearing of mask mandatory will do nothing to stop or slow the spread of this virus. One just has to look at the data from the DHSS and the Anchorage Institute of their mask mandate to see that masks just do not work. Back in June, former member Berkowitz ordered Anchorage to mask up. Since then, the number of positive cases of COVID-19 has steadily increased in the municipality of Anchorage. If masks work to slow or stop the spread, then the number of cases in the municipality of Anchorage should have gone down or been completely stopped. But the facts and numbers are clear. Masks do nothing to stop or slow the spread of this virus. Respectfully, Donna Icott. Oh, there it is. David Elliott. Please inform our newly elected public servants that I, a retired master sergeant and respiratory therapist, will not be taking orders from some liberal baby butchering elected comrade just because she thinks she's in charge. I stopped taking orders when I retired from the military. Never mind the fact that masks don't stop a virus. Yes, I know more about this than the city council does. This country is still ruled by the Constitution. That means we people are in charge and the elected prostitutes. From Trump on down to the mayor work for us. We the people don't work for them. Take your 10 people per meeting mask mandate crap and forget it. How dare you try to give us orders? Oh, you business owners? Ask me when I bought something in Anchorage last. It was before their stupid attempt at a mask mandate. No more Costco membership for me. If you have stock in Amazon, go ahead and require business owners to enforce their unconstitutional mandates. You folks think you're struggling now, just wait. I won't even buy gas in Palmer. Good luck collecting taxes on 0 businesses. Sincerely, your many commanding officers, David Elliott. P.S. Don't like what I have to say? Why don't you elected officials try to force a mask on me? Don't send some poor-looking guy or gal with a badge. You grow a pair and try. Socialist cowards never do dirty work themselves. Like a T-Rex trying to show people are being most for shouting orders to others with little tiny arms so we can't actually do anything. David Elliott. Brian Mendel. Palmer City Council, please do not implement the mask mandate with Palmer. If this is implemented, I will go elsewhere to support businesses where masks are not mandatory and avoid doing business at Palmer whenever possible. Sincerely, Brian Mendel. Allison Engelbrecht. Hi there, my name is Allison Engelbrecht. I have been living in Parler for 13 years. I love our sweet little community and its diverse members. The small businesses that line our town are the heartbeat of this place. I am inspired by all the hard work they have invested into our community and their stores. I am not one to make a fuss and I am extremely easygoing. However, I am needing my voice to be heard. I can't stay quiet any longer. I'm against wearing masks. Please don't tune me out. I have turned off the news, social media, and done research to come to this conclusion. There are no reliable agencies or media outlets for reporting numbers of actual COVID-19 cases. Doctors are paid more if they have a COVID case or death. I have had many friends lose loved ones during this pandemic. These people have died from cancer or heart-related issues. They never had COVID. Upon receiving the death certificates, the family members saw that the cause of death was COVID. Based on that alone, the numbers are not correct. COVID-19 tests for all strains of coronavirus, not specifically COVID-19. There are many types of coronavirus. Most coronavirus symptoms are regular cold and flu-like symptoms. There are a few novel coronavirus cases and they have a very promising recovery rate. Coronaviruses are incredibly common. A large percentage of the human population have COVID DNA in them in small quantities, whether they are well or not. This influences COVID-19 tests greatly. All of the information that is being thrown out is pseudoscience. There is no true scientific foundation for numbers in cases that have been released or information on it. Of course, COVID cases are rising. It's cold and flu season. There are multiple strains of COVID all the time. Palmer is about community and small businesses. If this mask mandate goes through, you will kill our economy and divide us even further. Let those that want to mask wear a mask. If I don't have a mask on, I am very sensitive to those that are scared and wear a mask. I give plenty of space and respect their personal bubble. I'm not confusing freedom and responsibility. This is purely common sense and reality. Masks don't even work. There's true hard scientific evidence to that. You can still get sick masking up, and most likely from your own mask and viral pathogens can still enter. I appreciate you taking the time to read this. Please read this into the record for 2016. Have a wonderful day, Allison. Dwayne Engelbrecht. To whom it may concern regarding mask policy, I would like to state that I am against a citywide mask policy in the city of Palmer, not because I find mask wearing annoying, but because the research behind mask wearing does not support it. Dr. Fauci stated that the numbers on wearing masks speak for themselves, but thus far he has never produced any compelling numbers to back up his claims. On the contrary, a policy review paper published in the journal Emerging Infectious Diseases, the Center for Disease Control and Prevention's journal published in June 2020 found no evidence to support universal mask wearing as a protective measure in non-healthcare settings. According to the authors, disposable medical masks are loose-fitting devices that are designed to be worn by medical personnel to protect accidental contamination of patients' wound and to protect the wearer against splashes or sprays of bodily fluid. Authors state, our systematic review found no significant effects of face masks on transmission of laboratory-confirmed influenza. In this review, we did not find evidence to support a protective effect of personal protective measures or environmental measures in reducing influenza virus transmission. I would like to add that in the fall of 2020, it became apparent to researchers worldwide that the coronavirus's means of transmission was in fact almost entirely through aerosols. Aerosol transmission, unlike a droplet transmission, is not affected by mask wearing, as aerosol particles containing viruses are much smaller than any junctions found in masks, even N95s, and therefore if oxygen is moving in and out of the mask, so are viruses. One other study worth highlighting was published in Health Affairs in June 2020, which found that U.S. states with universal mask mandates saw 2% reduction in growth rate of positive COVID-19 tests compared to states that did not mandate masks. Some may argue that a 2% reduction is better than nothing, but given the cost to businesses and the social stress that it places on citizens, community mask mandates are simply not worth implementing. Finally, in closing, a recent CDC analysis revealed that 85% of patients testing positive for COVID-19 wore face masks often or always in the 2 weeks preceding the positive test. Although this isn't a randomized controlled trial, it does tell us that by and large face masks do not appear to confer very good protection. If they did, coronavirus infection would favor the non-layers, which the numbers have never supported. Sincerely, joint Engler. Sierra Engler. To whom it may concern, this email is in regards to EO 20-016, the mask mandate for Palmer, Alaska. I greatly oppose this proposed mandate. It is entirely unnecessary and an infringement on personal freedoms. If passed, Palmer businesses will likely suffer financially, as people like myself will take our business elsewhere, where masks are not mandated. Furthermore, there's no real evidence proving that universal mask wearing has any ability to lower viral transmission whatsoever. Media and government fear-mongering is the only thing perpetuating mask wearing. Businesses who do actually believe in masks already have the ability to require employees and their customers to wear them, so why is a mandate even necessary? This mandate will only hurt businesses who are already suffering even more. I would like my thoughts shared with the City Council meeting tonight. Sincerely, Sierra Engler. Jessica Faulkner, she is next but had submitted in-person testimony. Doug Ferguson. My apologies, the PDF document may be hard to read. Here's the actual website. So he provided some attachments. That's why he's referring to the thing that didn't work, but it did. There's a link to his attachments as well. Mayor Theresa, I want to go on record as opposing any edict to force citizens to wear masks no matter what the circumstances may be. Certainly there are situations that call for amendments in the medical caregiver field where N95 masks are the standard along with strict hygiene protocols. Up to now, there has been very little consistent and statistically significant data one way or another to show its toxicity of COVID-19 as far as the general public is concerned. However, there just has been a publication in the annals in Curl Medicine with the results of a large study in Denmark that shows that masks don't make such difference compared to social distancing and other forms of common sense when dealing with contagious diseases. That study is attached as a PDF document. This is new news and should be made available to anyone who wishes to read that. The attachments were actually provided in the packet. Okay. Kara Fields, to whom it may concern, I want to speak out against this proposed ordinance. As someone who leads a group of homeschool students in the Palmer area, it is not in our best interest to mandate masks for all. Requiring all citizens to wear a mask is a health risk, therefore a violation of our rights to our own health. Masks worn for hours are a breeding ground for bacteria and mold, therefore leading to an increased risk of infection. The of discrimination against many groups within our community, including the deaf, those with PTSD, or with rape, trauma background. This ordinance is not in our best interest. Thank you for listening. Kara Fields. Carl Franzik. To Palmer City Council, Map Valley Milling is a small family business that does not agree with making everyone have to wear masks. It should be a choice, not a demand. This is a voice for the upcoming council meeting on November 18. We are not able to attend the meeting. I'm speaking up because City of Palmer is not Anchorage. Watching the news, most of the cases are in Anchorage, not out here. With all the mask mandates in Anchorage, nothing seems to be helping. Palmer has less cases, kids are in school, most businesses are opened and are following procedures to make sure everyone is safe. The 6-foot rule is used everywhere you visit or shop. Also, everywhere has sanitizer and most offer free masks for those that don't have them. It is not fair to ticket people for not wearing masks when they are alone walking on the sidewalk. It seems like the City of Palmer wants to take our freedom away. We do understand that COVID is serious, but we should have the choice to wear masks or not. Also, some of us have a hard time wearing things on our faces, like being allergic or loses the ability to breathe. Personally, my breathing means everything. Thank you for taking this time to read our concerns. Sincerely, Carl Franzik. Heather Fussell. Council members, as to the consideration of a mask mandate and as a citizen of Palmer, I submit and urge that no such mandate take place. Studies such as the Danish mask study released today linked to allow prove efficacy of mask wearing to be minimal, less than 3.3% against SARS-CoV-2. Less understood and of utmost importance is the psychological effect on children who depend on body language and facial clues for proper emotional development. The increase of bacterial infection due to mask wearing is a concern as well, particularly among children and those less educated on doffing protocols and proper hygiene. With the recovery rate of SARS-CoV-2 above 99% and no change in the death rate, the mask mandate is clearly more an exercise of power bordering on abuse than a practicality in any proper use of authority. I would consider any such mandate an affront to my liberty and ability to discern what is safe for myself and those around me. In liberty, Heather Fussell, live forever. Pastor Peter Gallardo. I'm requesting this following letter be written in the upcoming meeting in the order. Palmer City Council, as pastor of a local church, the Anchorage Christian Center, I am writing to express my opposition to Ordinance 20-016 for several reasons, a few of which I will mention here. This ordinance puts an unnecessary burden on smaller churches like ours. Our building is small, and even though our congregation is small in number, the prospect of the speaker or song leader needing to be 25 feet away from the congregation is unreasonable. If we are also sitting 6 feet apart, in addition to being 25 feet from the pulpit, that will leave room for only a handful of people to attend our services. The wording in the ordinance supporting almost sounds like a threat and stating the city reserves the right to use all available enforcement options to ensure compliance. Am I understanding that we will be checked on, and what would all available enforcement options include? Additionally, it sounds as if I, as the pastor, must act as an enforcer of the ordinance, and that I must refuse to allow those not complying with these regulations into our church. Has it come to this in our wonderful community, in our wonderful state, in our wonderful country, that churches are being treated as businesses where people not complying with community regulations are denied entrance? Our congregation of approximately 40, many of whom are older, have been real troopers as each new recommendation comes along. They are conscious of trying to stay 6 feet apart. Many of them have worn masks. We have discouraged shaking hands and hugging and have hand sanitizer readily available. The common areas of our building are cleaned regularly, and people who are not feeling well have stayed home. All this to say that we, as a congregation, have done our best to do our part in keeping ourselves and others around us safe. Please don't deny us the opportunity we need as a community of believers to worship. This ordinance infringes on our ability to meet together, gain strength and hope for each other, and worship as an entire congregation. Please consider the ramifications of the ordinance and dismiss it in its current form. Respectfully, Pastor Peter Gallardo. Sabrina Garcia. I cannot make the meeting, unfortunately, due to the fact that I work. In response to the mandate, I would like to list how unfair it is to someone like me who cannot wear one. I know you're probably rolling your eyes. I have asthma. I already have restricted breathing, even more so in the winter months. I should just stay home, right? No, I'm the sole income for my family. I need to work and love what I do. I also have claustrophobia. I was brutally raped while serving in the army. He covered my mouth. I now have a massive fear of being covered up. It sends me into an anxiety attack from hell. But I should probably stay home. Wrong. I've been the most depressed in my entire life since COVID started. Battling people constantly, standing up for myself. People have become hateful in this mass crowd. I would like to use more colorful words, but I won't. A piece of cloth isn't going to protect us from a virus. If you want us to be protected, issue the community some proper PPE. Today I was handed a mask from someone over the counter who didn't wash their hands or sanitize them before handing me a mask. God knows what they've touched. I said thank you and shoved it in my pocket. I see this often in stores, masks left out for people to grab for themselves. People with dirty hands touching a whole box of masks, contaminating all of them. Directly from the CDC, wearing cloth masks can help prevent people infected with virus that causes COVID-19 from spreading the virus. Make sure your cloth mask fits snugly but comfortably against the side of the face, completely covers the nose and mouth, is secured with ties or ear loops, includes multiple layers of fabric, allows for breathing without restriction, can be laundered and machine dried without damage or change to shape. Cloth masks should not be worn by children less than 2 years old, or anyone who has trouble breathing or is unconscious, incapacitated, or otherwise unable to remove the mask without assistance. Seems to me everyone ignores the small print of anyone who has trouble breathing. Also, I would care more if every single person wore them appropriately. I see people everywhere wearing the mask completely wrong, leaving their nose uncovered. This virus has a 99% survival rate. Let us have the choice. Look at Anchorage, more shut down than ever, yet cases are skyrocketing. If the masks work, why is this happening? Thank you, Sabrina Garcia. Colleen Garrity. Hello, my name is Colleen Garrity, and I oppose the mandate of mask wearing. I am not against wearing masks. I support the right to choose whether to wear a mask or not. So far, individuals have been given the authority to choose whether to wear a mask, to request masks be worn in their businesses, and which businesses to patron. This is a right to read the signage, to make up our own minds, a right to wash hands and distance ourselves, a right to decide what risk we are going to take. COVID is a risk like other risks in life. For some, it may be deadly, like driving in a vehicle. We are allowed to choose to drive on icy roads and what tires to have on our cars. Masks, physical distancing, and washing hands are the tools we are asked to use to effectively slow the spread. Let us choose which methods to use. Let the Alaskan people make their choice. Those who only want to patron shops that require masks can do so. Those who desire to take the risk at a store without may do so. Each setting is different. Some stores have plenty of space to physical distance, some do not. An area-wide mandate can have no nuance that a person's individual judgment can help. If it is believed that not enough people are wearing masks and the mask would really help, then perhaps the officials are doing a poor job of proving the usefulness of masks to the public through compelling and scientifically sound research. Alaskans are not trendy, they are practical. They don't follow fads, they follow facts. A mandate does not make the virus go away. It takes away the choice of individuals and freedom in our society. Having recently tested positive and recovered from COVID-19, myself and entire family had mild but unpleasant symptoms. I happened to contract the virus from an elderly woman who was only with her husband. We all stayed out of the hospital. As with other diseases, the risks to some individuals are higher than others. It is up to each of us to protect ourselves to the level we think we need. In closed spaces, especially with at-risk individuals present, I can understand wearing a mask. However, a mask mandate takes rights away from the population. It is a slap in the face to intelligent citizens who should have freedom to use their own judgment and wear a mask or not. We are going to get through this. Instead of mandating masks, consider a public awareness campaign that shows scientific evidence of masks working. Thank you. Colleen Garrity. Gail Kirk. I would like to voice my disagreement with instituting a public mask mandate in the city of Palmer. We enjoy the freedom of moving about and breathing fresh air without any encumbrance. We are careful about who we associate with and respect others' health concerns in any businesses that request mask wearing. Common sense and respect should dictate, but government oversight and general mandates become a burden to the taxpayers and also to the businesses of the community. Please read and enter this communication to the general record of the County City Council meeting. Thank you, Gail Kirk. Megan Gibson. I am totally against this. My kids have given up so much for school. This is just detrimental. We are not Anchorage. We don't have the numbers as Anchorage. What's the point in doing a mask mandate now when we didn't do one in March, when it became more prevalent? I pride myself in living in Palmer where I can do my thing. You're asking for a lot if we want to mandate it to go down. Thanks, maybe it's. This one does not have a name to it. This is the best way to get people to wear a face mask is to be kind and ask nicely. Your unconstitutional mandate will just piss people off and you will defy your tyranny. Liberty or death. Oh, Joy Gillespie. In regards to mask mandates, Madam Mayor, I'm not sure how else to let my voice be heard. I'm a citizen of Palmer and mother of 4 children. I am writing to express to you, please do not choose to go the way of Anchorage in mandating masks and this emergency meeting. Please continue to allow people to choose what best suits their conscience. The science does not support the wearing of cloth masks in the spread of COVID or any virus, or it is dubious at best. Why further divide our community with a mask mandate? The pressure to wear masks causes so much anxiety because many believe it to be wrong and against their conscience to further the fear-mongering and control. And I know I am not the only one. I do not believe mask wearing to be healthy for children to participate in or steal around them masked. Again, the science is dubious at best that masks wearing does anything to stop the spread of COVID. Please be respectful in how you consider crossing the boundary of Palmer citizens' personal freedoms. In no time in history have been forced to quarantine the mask up. It is the sick and immunocompromised that have historically done so. Protect our community by allowing us to develop herd immunity. This is a scientific fact in neurology. Just because something is recommended by the CDC does not make it right. Thank you for your consideration. Sincerely, Crystal Joy Gillespie. Susan Gillespie. Leave it to the people to decide. It's called freedom. Susan Gillespie. Simon Gilliard. I am opposed to the proposed mask mandate. As an employee of a small business in Palmer city limits, a customer of Palmer business is a resident of Palmer zip code and owner of my own small business, thankfully outside your city limits. I see the freedom I moved my family here for being stripped away by bureaucrats who have followed the hard-working people from Anchorage and elsewhere who are tired of living in San Francisco. There is a reason the governor hasn't mandated masks statewide. He has respect for individual rights and freedoms that appears to be lost on unicorns in his areas. Public health and safety is a noble idea, but allowing businesses, owners, event organizers, parents, and just regular individuals to decide what they feel is best for them and their families is true public trust. What if the public health and safety issue was ice all over town? Would you require everyone who has good balance to spread sand everywhere they want just because someone next to them may slip? Or would you require everyone to wear ice cleats just because someone might fall and hurt themselves? No, you wouldn't require these things if the issue was ice. If you did, you would get laughed out of town. Business owners can require masks if they so choose by providing signage and masks at their doors, the same as they would sand their sidewalks and parking lots if they felt it was required. Individuals who feel they are at added risk can wear masks if they want the same as they have the liberty of spreading sand in front of them as they walk on icy areas or wearing ice cleats. This isn't a health and safety issue as much as it is a you wanting to be in obtrusive control of your constituents and their district's decisions issue. Simon Gilliard. David Glanville. I take extreme issue with emergency ordinance number 20-016, an emergency ordinance of the Palmer City Council enacting an emergency master face covering mandate. Text of the ordinance in red fonts. Red. Whereas the COVID-19 pandemic has generated a public health emergency that threatens to overwhelm our health system, endangering the lives and well-being of our citizens. And red. This argument may have been applicable in March when we had no hard data of the effects of COVID-19 in the U.S. or Alaska, and all we had were reports coming from Italy where patients were being pushed into alleyways outside of Italian hospitals. Presently, the threatens to overwhelm our health system argument has been 100% debunked. There has not been anyone that has been denied an ICU bed or a ventilator anywhere in America for the last 10 months. This type of categorically false statement was, in my assumption, only included to incite panic in the electorate. Well-being of our citizens encompasses so much more than COVID-19 transmission, and for my family, this attempted overreach of my local government has affected our well-being far more than the virus has. Start with. Whereas the governor has issued an emergency alert asking citizens to remain diligent on social distancing and masking and right on. I sincerely hope that this body understands the gravity of going from the governor's asking to this ordinance that threatens to use all available enforcement options to ensure compliance. This is an enormous leap that has unwarranted and untenable. Start right on. Whereas the CDC recommends wearing masks or face coverings in public settings in addition to maintaining 6 feet of physical distancing. Close right on. The CDC recommends that women should not consume more than 25 grams, 150 calories of sugar per day.
Now, I'm gonna chuckle.
I know. So the CDC recommends that women should not consume more than 25 grams, 150 calories of sugar per day. They also recommend that we should eat egg substitutes instead of eggs. The CDC has thousands of recommendations that, if followed, would potentially lessen the load on our health system and help with the physical well-being of our citizens. Using CDC recommendations as a catalyst for a public health ordinance sets an accordingly asinine precedent for the future. Following this flawed version of logic, we should outlaw sexual intercourse in the city of Palmer. This will keep STDs and babies from clogging up our already overtaxed health system. Clear store shelves of all items that have more than 10 grams of refined sugar per serving to reduce the type 2 diabetes cases impacting our already overtaxed health system. Reduce speed limits on our roads to a maximum of 10 miles per hour to reduce the number of citizens that require hospitalization for automobile accidents. The above actions, in my humble opinion, are no less ridiculous than forcing all residents of the great city of Palmer to tie rags around their faces. This text taken from the ordinance is grammatically incorrect. Maintaining 6 feet of physical distancing should be maintaining 6 feet of physical distancing. Did no one bother proofreading this garbage before trying to force it upon the fine citizens of this great city? David Glenville. Sean Glenn. We do not need a mask mandate. People are doing mask social distancing, and guess what, still getting positive. Just because a positive result does not mean death. Stay healthy, live, exercise, food, and sleep. Sean Glenn.
Did I miss
I
one? Was she in person?
No, I missed her.
Oh, okay, okay.
I didn't follow my routine, and I turned over the paper before I should have.
Okay.
Thank you. Seneca Glenn. Read aloud for the record. Never in my life have I heard or seen so many people acting with such idiocy. Never has there been so many rules that are useless except to oppress the people who don't believe in what is trying to be sold. Palmer does not need or want a mask mandate, and we are living and thriving without one. You can reference all the numbers that you think are true if you would like, but you do not get to decide what I have to choose. I have the choice to do. You do not get to take away my freedoms. You do not get to tell me to cover my face with something that doesn't even work. If masks had proven in Anchorage, no one would have gotten or continued to be getting sick. Your fear-mongering will not work here. Palmer is not afraid of a cold or the flu and shouldn't be afraid of COVID-19. Palmer citizens can choose to wear a mask for themselves. The people wearing them already have made that choice for themselves. And if they really think that their masks don't work unless I'm wearing one, then they are dumber than I give them credit for. And you are just as dumb for proposing this mandate. Shutting down the businesses of Palmer does not benefit anyone in any way. You have no right to force this upon us, and we will not stand for it. Thank you. Senator Glenn. Connie Goodwin. No mask mandate for Matsu. The type of masks worn by everyday people has not been proven to stop virus spread. Dr. Fauci is on video stating the size of a virus is extremely smaller than a human hair. The virus can fit through the weave of our masks. Dr. Fauci, the CDC, and WHO have waffled on the efficiency of, the efficacy of mask wearing. Just today, I read the opinion of an Oxford scholar who added that wearing masks has other health dangers. Mandatory mask wearing implements government control, not safety. Mayor Edmund Breeze works very hard to grow Palmer's economy. The majority of consumers will not respond well to a mask mandate. Deputy Mayor, if you want to live under oppression, move to Anchorage. Leave Palmer alone. Sincerely, Connie Goodwin. Tracy Greco. To whom it may concern, I am asking the ordinance number 20-016 not be instituted. Mask mandates have been implemented in many major cities across the country, including New York, California, Washington, Oregon, and Michigan. All these areas have had significant spikes in COVID-19, despite restrictive mandates, including masking. There is nearly 100% masking compliance in China, and the virus traveled from there to America in spite of strict masking. Masking does not stop the spread of the virus. There are also constitutional issues with enforcement. I have sent this note twice to include 2 articles published within the last week, which I ask be entered with my testimony into the record. Thank you, Trixie Greco. And attachments are.
Turn to Pumpkin is in it.
Madam Mayor, this is it's kind of a good spot for us on stopping. How, do you want us to keep going and let you know when the next good spot is?
Council, do you want another 1 or 2 read, or are you ready to wrap it up? I don't know, they're either all asleep. I can see their eyes open, but I don't see any thumbs up or thumbs down or anything. I see their eyes open, so I think they're awake.
Well, we get 4 more in, and then. Yeah, I'm like, thank you, Councilmember Vest.
Okay, so 4 more, and then.
Okay, then it's a good stopping point. All right. Emily Greensfelder. To whom it may concern, I am writing in regards to the proposed emergency ordinance number 20016. As a citizen of the Matsu Borough and a frequent visitor to Palmer, I strongly oppose mandating that people wear masks. If you mandate masks, you will take away people's freedom or choice to choose to mask or not to mask. You will further divide the people of Palmer in an already tumultuous climate, and you will do more harm than good by mandating masks. I believe that where there is risk, there must be a choice. To date, there has only been one randomized controlled trial done, the gold standard of scientific trials regarding the efficacy of cloth masks. For time's sake, I'll spare you the details of the study, however, I'll include the reference at the end of my email. The study concluded that the group wearing cloth masks are 13 times more likely to develop a respiratory illness. The study also concluded that those wearing surgical masks were less than effective. There are studies and data that show N95 mask wearers becoming more ill than those that didn't wear N95 masks. Shouldn't people know that this data exists? That by wearing a cloth mask for hours on end could possibly make them more susceptible to respiratory illnesses and other bacteria that are attracted to a humid environment, to a damp, humid environment. The people of Palmer should be able to educate themselves and make an educated decision and be free to choose whether to wear a mask or not. We are facing unprecedented times regarding a deepening political divide among people. The scientific study mentioned above and many other studies that conclude that masks are not effective in stopping the spread of respiratory illnesses haven't been widely shared on social media because of the continued censorship by technology companies. This has led to a plethora of articles written by biased authors being shared rampantly and disproportionately compared to studies with an opposing position. If you mandate masks in the city of Palmer, you will deepen that divide because some will still choose not to wear a mask. Mandating masks is guaranteed to increase animosity and distaste for those that choose to exercise their personal freedom. In addition to the scientific studies mentioned above, it's apparent through observation and personal experience, people touch their face 2 to 3 times more than they normally would without a mask. This activity adds to the ineffectiveness of masks. Normalize taking care of your body and exercise, healthy eating, vitamins and supplements that have been proven to work, show scientific studies, not articles written by a biased author summarizing the study. Give people the opportunity to educate themselves and make an educated choice. Thank you for your time. Emily Greensfelder. And she did include links to the articles that she said. Edith Brunwald. Greetings. I live in Palmer, and while not in the city limits, Palmer is my home and a place of choice for many people. We are free people with common sense and a sense of responsibility. We have family, loved ones, friends, neighbors, and people we have yet to meet, and all in our community. People choose to live and shop and do business in Palmer so as not to go into and deal with the insanity of Anchorage. This whole COVID situation is out of control because local, municipal, state, and national governments have chosen to take control. No mask mandate. A mask mandate is not necessary. Business owners, managers, customers, and those elected to positions all get the same information and can decide accordingly and responsibly and even respectfully what to do. Thank you, Edith Grunwald. Next was Co Guthrie, and Co did testify last week. Good night, Mary.
All right, so you're in a good place where you can stop. Okay, all righty. So without hearing anybody, I am going to extend the meeting to 4 p.m., or continue the meeting, excuse me, on December 4th at 4 p.m. Good night, happy Thanksgiving. See you in December.
Hi! Thank you all for participating tonight. Do not forget to like and share. Please go to my website, Politadick.com, click that donate button. Make sure that I can afford to be here next week on Friday, the 4th at 4 p.m. for the continuation of what is going on here tonight. Thank you all for tuning in. And again, don't forget to like and share. Facebook squills on you if you don't. Have a great Thanksgiving.